All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you guys had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Peter. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Carlos. I am doing well, thank you.
Awesome, my friend. Awesome, my friend. All right, guys, as we kick it off here, ready for another day of trading. Where's my gappers list? All right, as I pull this up, Peter, happy Veterans Day to here in the U.S. All our veterans. I know I could think of a few at the top of my head. Our good buddy Dwayne, Mike, John, of course. I'm sure there's many others in the community as well. So happy Veterans Day, my friends. Good Veterans Day to you. All right, let me just. My gappers list is not showing up, so I'm going to refresh it here in just a second.
Canada, similar story. It's what we call Remembrance Day, sometimes called Poppy Day. It has various names.
Yeah, I heard of the Poppy Day. Yeah, I heard of that.
Anyways, we tend to wear poppies, and it's a symbol, anyways, of remembrance for those who have fallen. Remembrance Day for us is started after the First World War. So the 11th day of the 11th month at the 11th hour, we normally have a moment of silence. We often, ceremonies include a reciting of In Flanders Fields, which is a famous poem by John McCrae. I've got it up on my screen if you're sharing that. So it's a good day for everybody to remember all those who served our respective countries and granted us and supported and defended the freedoms that we currently enjoy. And, one of the, I guess, the tagline, if you will, for this day, lest we forget. It's very important that we remember not only those who've come before, but the reason why we had to defend these freedoms and the importance they have to us. Sometimes we can get comfortable in our lives and forget how important that is to us, and frankly, how tenuous it is. We must always continue to fight for the freedoms that we hold dear, because unfortunately, there are always those who are seeking to take power and the freedom from us, from those who cannot defend themselves. So let us all remember that, I suppose, on this Remembrance Day, Veterans Day, Poppy Day, whatever you call it. So there you go. Carlos, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry about that. I said Peter, well said. And yeah, guys, let's get to it. Gappers list brought to you by tradingterminal.com as we kick off this cold Tuesday, man. It is cold out here today. It is like 33 degrees. It's flurries coming out. It is very brisk. The first day where we have to crank up the heat.
It is, and there's snow across the Northeast here, all over the place. It looks like the snow might be here to stay. I don't know. Normally, snow that happens this early melts, but my daughter is driving back to London, Ontario, which is normally it's a 6.5 hour drive. May take her a little bit longer today with a lot of snow happening. And for me, this is great driving weather. I love driving when the weather is bad. The worse it is, the more I enjoy it. But her, not so much.
Yeah. I hear you, man. All right, so but our gappers list, friends, here by tradingterminal.com. If you could take a look, we have a bunch of stuff in the green this morning as talks continue in regards to the shutdown. I think they're making headway here, so we'll see in the next couple of days how that looks. Peter, before we jump into the details of this one, what is the latest and greatest on our U.S. economic calendar?
Well, as you might guess, it's a little light. The stock market is open, but the bond markets in the U.S. are closed today. And as such, we really don't have a lot of economic data. Earlier this morning, the NFIB Small Business Optimism survey came out pretty much on target, as you can see, came out at 98.2. I think I might have actually reversed those versus a forecast at 98.5. Well, let me see here. What is that? Feels wrong. No, that is correct. 98.2 came out, so slightly under the forecast. This is a relative scale of the optimism of small business owners in the U.S. Basically, I mean, look, it's there's not much you can do about it. It doesn't tend to largely affect the market. Yeah, nothing to report here, and no other data expected to come out. So as you would think, I think that we may see muted volumes in the market. The open will be the open. It always is. You always get enough volume to make things move. After that, it could drop off a little more quickly than usual. But just you know, keep a sharp eye on it. Trade your strategies because you never know. So.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. You never know. We had a very interesting day yesterday too, with the ups and the downs. Eventually, things start to break out and actually trade a little bit better, including our Tesla trade there. So again, we did get a little bit of action towards the middle of the morning there. All right, let's start with the first one on deck, ENGN. This morning we are Engine Holdings. And we are up 52%, 15.4 million shares traded. Look at this pre-market action. It is definitely in play. Tons of volume. The float on this one is 18 million shares flow, so obviously sitting on the lower side of things. But Peter, it is rocking today. Any good news that might be actually tradable?
Looking this up, Gene Holdings. Usually, if it's here, it's because they probably have a drug trial, and that is certainly the case. It looks like they've got positive results from a clinical trial of detalimogene, which is a bladder cancer treatment. And that has got it. They've seen a positive response rate over the last 6 months, and that has got the stock moving higher. These ones are always, they're popcorn stocks usually at best. This one is, 21 million shares float. It's going to be trading like a high risk, low float stock.
Yeah, so this will definitely fall into our popcorn category if you want to watch it. So I won't have it there, but if you do, it is in play today, and you can definitely add it to the list. Next on here is going to be SQNRX. QNRX. Oh, wow. Look at this one, Peter. This is up 70%. Just started to get going literally probably less than 10 minutes ago. We'll say $8, maybe even lower. And as high as 1580 just in the last couple of seconds. So this thing is really, really moving. Has seen action like this in the past, going back to October 10th. You can see that right on there. Big pop over to 40. That's right, 42. Around 42. I mean, wow. So barely any volume. 690,000 shares traded and climbing. Any news on this one? Oh, Peter, you're on mute. I still can hear Peter. You hit the mute twice? Yep.
Sorry, I said I'm just
Okay.
back here.
Yep.
Quion Pharmaceutical. All right, so it looks like they also have a positive trial result on. Ugh, my God! Apparently they've achieved target rapamycin loadings for two proprietary delivery technologies, advancing its rare disease pipeline. I don't know what that means other than it's good news for the company. They have a topical lotion and a dermal patch. Two different ways of delivering this. So I guess it's actually not the drug, it's the delivery methods that they're testing in this case. However, it's good news for the company. Again, look, if you guys like these, oddly, these are normally Monday type news, but we've got a few of these happening today, it seems.
Yeah, we sure do. Man, high flying this morning, as you can see here. If it's your cup of tea, go for it. 18 million shares flow is this one, so just be careful. A couple of low flows today off our gappers list. The first top 1, 2, 3, even 4 over here, GLTO, which we saw yesterday. All low flow tickers, well under 50 million, 40 million, which is kind of considered where the borderline is of that low flow to mid flow tickers. These are well under that. So let's look at another one. Let's see if any luck here. SR. Wow, look at QNRX continues here, friends. Careful, careful. SRDX this morning. We are up 50%. Oh, this looks more like a buyout. So 50% up this morning. Pretty flat, 438,000 shares traded and not really moving, not really in play. Peter, nothing to see here, basically.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct on this. Good read. It is a buyout. Now, this is a previously announced buyout. However, there was a court case for somebody to try and block the acquisition of this company by another company called GTCR. But apparently the court denied that request. So the
Hmm.
merger is on. Yeah, this clearly, I don't have the details. Clearly, the price is, I would guess, somewhere around $42. And that's why the stock has come to this price and is just sitting here. So, yeah, it's not going to move. Whatever the acquisition price, whatever the details, it's not likely to move.
Yeah, I see there. Moving on down here, GLTO is another one that was in play yesterday. If you guys remember that one, GLTO. This morning we
Yeah,
are.
we,
It's sold. Yeah, it sold off yesterday, right? So for the most part, sold off.
yeah,
This morning it's
but
gapping up,
if
but
you
not
look
looking
at
good.
No, if you look at the details, it was open for 30 seconds and then halted, I think, about
Yeah,
6 times in the first hour. So it was not tradable. We poked our head in on this, Carlos, a couple of times
yeah,
yesterday and looked at it. Yeah, I don't, that if it was that, sort of gappy and halted yesterday, I doubt it's going to be much better today. It might not halt as much because the price action won't be as active or violent, but it's probably, yeah, well, yeah, it's probably not going to trade very well. It could, but I'm looking at it right now. Despite the million shares traded, it looks very gappy. Like I don't know where that volume is. I don't see it. So.
yeah. I don't like it either, friends. So we'll leave that one alone. Again, and based on what we saw yesterday, was nothing to actually like on that ticker at all. So moving on down, friends, we'll do two more. Then we'll hop around. I don't see none of our usual suspects down here. I do see some more tickers that we're familiar with. They're not great intraday trading stocks like Poet, like our rare minerals. I really, Peter, we know me and you never got into the rare minerals, earth, whatever trading. We never really got into those tickers.
No.
Like we never saw something great. I
Uh,
know some people did
well,
like CRML, right?
well, we did, Carlos. I
Yeah.
mean, we can't, lest we forget, if I could borrow that,
Oh yeah, I
MP.
forgot about that.
Yeah, see, you blanked it from your mind
I
because of the
blanked
trauma.
it from
So,
mine.
our, our brief foray into the earth metals, perhaps that's why we've, subconsciously just sort of bounced off them as they've come up ever since. So, anyways, for
Yeah.
those that weren't here with us, Carlos and I both were trading MP, convinced that it was going
Oh
to go short, and it was not cooperating. And we were just pounding away at this thing, trying to get it to go short, and it just would not work. And we both like were embarrassed by our trading after it. So we keep mentioning it so that we don't forget that
yeah,
not to
yeah,
do that again.
yeah. It was wild, man. Wild, wild. Makes me think of the madness, right? The movie, man. I finished the movie yesterday. What a crazy
Oh,
twist! Did not expect
see,
that. I was
there
really,
you okay.
I
I told you
I
it was
had,
going
I
to
had,
get stranger.
there was one hint where like, huh? The lady says something, and there was one hint, but it did not wrap me. And man, it was really, really good. So Fight Club, I just finished seeing it last night.
There you go.
After talking with Dwayne, the onboarding class, and all that good stuff, and it was yeah, it was pretty twisted, man, pretty twisted. And thanks for Dwayne for covering the onboarding class tonight, last night. So a lot of people joined,
Yep.
about 23 people there. So good to have you guys. Some really good questions too. So thank you for that. All right. Yeah, finally, that one's in the books. All right, let's continue here. What else? So RKLB. Let's look at this one. Then we'll hop around to see what else looks good today. RKLB this morning up 9.2, 1.1 million shares traded. This is Rocket Lab. We've seen plenty of times on our list, Peter. So anything special today that you like on it?
Yeah, this is the first of many earnings that we had after the close yesterday. They beat their numbers in Q3, issued improved guidance for Q4. So that's why they are gapping up. I like Rocket Lab. I have to admit, I do enjoy watching it. I've traded it in the past. That being said, you can spend a lot of time watching this thing without getting good moves. So. It's perhaps it's a buyer beware. I mean, it actually, I have to admit, doesn't look great pre-market. I mean, there is a million shares traded. However, the price action is pretty spotty, despite that volume, and it's not feeling great. So, maybe, but also maybe not. I don't
Yeah,
know. I
yeah.
mean, we uh, I don't know. I'm not sure what to advise you guys because I said I have an unreasonable like for it. So
Yeah, yeah. Our good buddy JC Trader saying that I'm doing a spoiler alert. I'm like, I think I'm probably the only one that has not watched the movie yet. So
yeah,
no, no.
look,
Now, listen, I was 15 when the movie came out, right? I think Spice mentioned
yeah,
came out in '99. There's
yeah.
got to be younger people in
The,
our chat that has not have not watched this movie. There has
yeah,
to be.
I'm sure there is, but there is a statute of limitations, right? I mean, quarter century. Come on, you've had your time. So,
Yes, agreed,
it is a
agreed.
good movie. I think it's a great movie, and it's one that you can actually watch several times because once you actually know what's happening, you can start to watch it and you can see all sorts of hints. They actually put a
Yeah,
ton of little spoilers in it, hint. And Carlos, things that you wouldn't see unless you know it. They actually have single frame flashes of things that they put in the movie
yeah,
that you probably wouldn't really notice unless you're really, really paying attention. It's and all sorts of little things where when you realize, again, spoiler alerts, when you realize that the titular character, one of the main characters, isn't real, they show you all the scenes in which he's in. He never actually interacts with anybody. And you don't notice that. You think he does. You think he's driving a
yeah,
car. When he gets on a
yeah, yeah,
bus, he doesn't act like he never actually interacts with anybody because he's not real. So
yeah, yeah.
it's interesting when you sort of can go back and look at it. So yeah, not
It's
really titular, but he's the main. I mean, what would Tyler Durden do, right? I mean, it's sort of all about. I don't even know what's the name of the other guy. What's the name of the actual character that Edward Norton plays? I don't even know. It doesn't matter, right? Anyway, what movie? Fight Club. We're talking.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Anyways,
right.
I mean, he's
Awesome.
the actual character, but I don't know what. I don't even know what his
I
character
don't think
name
they ever
is.
say
He's
this
just
name.
no. He's just
Yeah,
called narrator. He doesn't even have a name,
that's a
which is
good.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Great, great movie. Great movie. Thanks for making me watch it, guys. All right, Peter. We're gonna stop here. Off this gappers list on the top is a lot of low flow stuff. Not a whole lot of things that I like this morning. What do you like gapping up today, or anything that might not be on this list?
we had a ton of earnings last night. The only ones that are gapping up from those. So we'll start there. Big Bear AI, BBAI. It is gapping up this morning, up quite a bit actually, almost 18%. And a couple things, they reported their earnings, which were pretty good. They also announced that they're spending $250 million to acquire a company called Ask Sage. I feel like that's something that if it's that we should know about, but I don't know. There's so many of these tech companies out there. But anyways, Ask Sage is a generative AI platform that they're spending $250 million to buy. And the market seems to like that. Of course it is. It's an AI acquisition, right? Where most acquisitions, reduce the value of your company in the short term. Yeah, if you're buying AI, that's seen as a good thing. So it's good to know that that still pays dividends. So good for them. I don't know, tradable. It doesn't look bad pre-market. Almost 7.5 million shares. It's in play. So we
Yeah,
were talking. What about those tech ones that we were looking at? The ENGN and QNRX. I'd probably go with a Big Bear AI myself. Maybe because I'm
yeah.
more comfortable with the space than with the pharmaceutical companies, but I like the volume on this. So keep that one in mind. Another one that we used to trade and love is Occidental Petroleum. Very low volume this morning, so it wouldn't make our list. It's only got, well, it's under the 200,000 share threshold that we normally would like to trade. But they also had earnings last night on Occidental Petroleum. And they reported their Q3 results. It was beating analyst expectations. On earnings, slightly below on revenue, but they are gapping up this morning. Probably less to see here. It is a NYSE stock, not as much fun. There are a ton of other earnings, but frankly,
Yeah.
most of them are gapping down, like most of the market this morning. Really, we got a lot to talk about on the gap downside from earnings this morning. I think the only one that might, well, here, one that we could talk about is SE, which is Sea Limited. It's a shipping company. They beat on the top line, missed bottom line earnings, but are still gapping up here marginally this morning. So that's okay. And then Ashanti Gold is the only other one with earnings this morning. Sorry, Anglo Gold. Wrong company name there. Anglo Gold, AU. Very low volume, but also had earnings this morning. Oddly gapping up. Their earnings didn't look good. In fact, if I'm reading this right, I think they actually missed top and bottom line. And I don't know why they're gapping up. I feel like they should be a gap down, especially with the market all moving down here. But yeah, they are green. So
Yeah.
that's what I got. We'll cover the rest. There's a whole bunch of gap down earnings stocks that we'll talk about on the other side of the ledger.
Yep. Absolutely. We'll get into those actually right now. So, gap down list by trading terminal VOR. So, if we look at VOR here, VOR Biopharma. So, this morning they're taking a nice hit here, down 44%, 843,000 shares traded. And you can see here the drop that we're getting in this pre-market. Started after hours last night. So, here it is after the close. You see a big drop. And then since then, bleeding some more. So, Peter, not having fun. Someone's definitely getting fired here. What's the latest and greatest?
Yeah, I obviously I'm not quite clear on how this works, but maybe it's worthwhile. So it's a secondary offering, so not something we like to trade. They've issued 10 million shares at $10 a share. So basically they raised $100 million, which is almost halved the price of the value of their company, which seems odd to me. So is that worth it? If you half the value, I mean, I guess they get 100 million bucks in the bank, and maybe with their float only being 5.6 million, so technically their company would have been, I don't know, they used to have a $128 million market cap. They would have lost $60 million this morning then based on the revised price, but they made 100 million. So I guess it's still worthwhile. Anyways, I'm not sure they probably don't do the math that way, but nor did they expect necessarily their company to drop to half its value. But you expect it to go near the price of the new stock, especially when you're issuing more stock than you have in the float, right? Like it's absolutely going to do that. So they reasonably could have expected this to have happened. But maybe
Yeah.
they think it's all short term and it's going to go back up. So I don't know. Anyways, whatever. We're not trading it.
Yeah. So careful, guys, on that one. All right, let's see what else we can pick off this list here. CRWV, CoreWeave, which we actually have looked at and even traded in the past. So they're down 8.6 this morning, 3.9 million shares traded. Here's their daily. We had a lot of action on this. If you guys remember in May, this was a lot of fun. So we were watching it quite a bit. A little tougher to trade, even when it was moving like this with high volume. But yeah, it's one that we looked at in the past. Today, Peter, they're down quite a bit. Looks like after hours action on this chart.
Yeah, so this is one of the earnings that I was talking about, where they announced after the close yesterday. Look, they had a bad quarter. They lowered their guidance. However, they've got very strong AI pipeline. The issue they've had is in delivering, and that's usually the issue, right? Anybody can promise things that the delivery is usually the issue, as anybody who's been a consultant or has hired a consultant has learned. It's very easy to tell a company what to do. It's very hard to actually do it, and that's why consultants usually avoid that type of business. Anyways, can you tell I'm jaded against consultants? Anyways, moving on. In this case, they have had a lot of delays in the construction of their data centers. So while their pipeline remains robust, they've got to ramp up their ability to actually deliver on the goods. So all I want is you to do what you said you're going to do, right? And they've struggled to do that. So these guys are based in Jersey, New Jersey, Carlos. So
Oh
you
yeah,
might
they
find a
got a
CoreWeave building under construction
massive,
somewhere near you.
massive headquarters here. in New
Oh, you've
Jersey. Every
seen it?
time, oh yeah, I drive around. It's like how many
Okay.
people work here? It's like 6 floors, maybe less, maybe like four, but it's a massive, massive building. I'm like, how many consultants do you need? So, but yeah,
Yeah.
they're here, auditors at least.
Interestingly, the company they tried to blame. They said they're concerned about the power shell, meaning is there enough power available to run their data centers? Analysts basically called BS on that and said, you know what, there is enough power in the Northeast for the next couple of years. They're absolutely heading towards a power crisis where you just, especially in that corridor, the infrastructure will not be able to support the amount of infrastructure and data centers that are being constructed. However, that's not preventing you at this point. So try again. So
Yeah,
that's sort of
yeah,
funny. You don't normally get the analyst stepping in and saying, "Yeah, nice try, but we're not buying your story. You're just, your construction is delayed." And their construction is twofold. If anybody's following this company closely, not only do they have to build the physical data centers, but they also have to build the equipment that goes in it, right? Like basically structure. Part of their business model is to build the compute devices that fill it up, and that obviously is a big technological concern, and they can't get to that until the place is suitable for habitation, right? So it's a twofold problem that they've got, and they're working on it, but not as fast as they promised investors. So,
yeah, yeah. So there it is, man. Wow, this building opened up in 1986. They're New Jersey, one of their New Jersey locations that I drive by. So been around for some time. So all right, CoreWeave. Peter, do you like this one? Is that gonna be on your list? I think it might be worth
I
putting on.
do,
They can trade well.
I do. It's popped up pre-market here a little bit. I like the price action. Lower volume than what we were seeing, for instance, on Big Bear, only 3.9 million shares, but I do like it. So those two are ones that I think are worth considering for your watch list this morning, both CoreWeave and Big Bear AI.
Yep. I'm gonna add Big Bear as well, BBAI on the list here. All right, let's see what else we got off the gappers list. Gap down, we're looking at CLST. I see on here this morning. Wasn't this thing gapping up yesterday? Wasn't it like doing well? CLST, yeah, it was. I remember you mentioned it. So Clean Spark had a gap up yesterday, went up to around 1639, then sold off most of the day, and today we're gapping down some more, down 6.1. 30, is that correct? 31 million shares traded. Where's that volume? Is that right? I'm gonna reset this real quick. That seems, it is right. Okay. All right. I mean, okay. Down 31, down 5.9 with 31 million shares traded. Ghost million shares traded. I don't see them here in the pre-market at all. So again, maybe some transactions being recorded today that did not happen after hours or whatever, but definitely strange to see it be that big of a number. And this is what the pre-market looks like today, Peter. So latest and greatest.
Yeah, they look. This is a secondary offering, which is the type of news we don't normally like to trade. They're issuing a whole bunch of different notes, basically their promissory notes at different prices. And bottom line is they're raising about $1.1 billion, and they're using it for expansion. They're using it to pay down debt. And it's a little. Like I'm surprised that they managed to fill this offering because, as is stated in a couple of the reporting on it, a little bit of the reporting on it, um, they this is in an environment where the value of their investment, their mining operations, is diminishing in value. So the profitability is getting narrower, right, as it gets more and more difficult to mine Bitcoin, which is their focus. It gets more and more expensive for every coin you have to mine, right? The old halving activity. And we're heading to, well, when is the next one? You guys out there know. I thought it was coming up like relatively soon, in the next year, but it might be a little longer out. I'd have to look it up again. But and every time that halving happens, essentially it just becomes exponentially more expensive to mine Bitcoin. Mid 28. Okay, so it's much more than a year out. All right, I thought it was 2026. Yeah, I know we had one last year or earlier this year. But anyways, okay, I'm wrong. So they've got a little bit of time, anyways, at current profitability rates, right? Right, which means that it won't get that much more expensive, but it still is more expensive now than it was in the past. Plus, if you're not getting an appreciating value of Bitcoin, that makes it doubly tough, and that's one of the things we have been looking at over the last little while. And let's see, where's it sitting today? Today, see, Bitcoin is sitting at 104,000. Which is not where they need it to be, right? I mean, it did spike at over 120,000 a couple of times, and they really need these prices to be towards the all-time high to warrant increased investment. And it's not looking all that positive at the moment. So, but hey, it's Bitcoin, it's crypto. It can turn on a dime. We've seen it innumerable times in the last few years as people have been trading these assets, this class, anyways, of investment. So who knows?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, all right, let's see what else. And looking at this list, Peter, I am not alone here. Look at that. We have 30%, 31% of people have not seen Fight Club. So 178 votes. We need more votes for sure. So put your votes in and
Should have
see what we could do
You should
there.
have separated perhaps your survey by age so
Right,
that
I was
people
thinking about that. I don't want to
are
make it too
you
complicated, but yeah, I'm
yeah.
sure at 32, there's a
It's
couple
it's
of
were you
young.
born when Fight Club came out and have you seen it?
Yeah, yeah,
Or you
yeah.
not?
Good.
Anyways, I do think it's an interesting movie to watch because it's yeah, I mean, I don't. Many of you may not remember. Those that are old like me would. It was quite subversive when it came out, right? It had a lot of angst because of the content, and people were concerned about it. But it is a great movie. It was very different for a Hollywood blockbuster type movie. So, they are arguably, people of course have picked this thing apart and analyzed it to death over the last 25 years. And
Yeah,
there are elements of it that sort of don't quite sync up, right? Where there's a few little plot holes in it, but you got to really you got to pick at it quite heavily to find them. So, anyways, worth watching if you've never seen it, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
Carlos, would you agree with that? Now that you
I
have
it
seen it?
was a great movie. It's different. Now we've seen since then we've seen other movies similar to that, right? Where you think the
Yeah.
person is talking to someone, but at that time in 1999 when it came out, that yeah, there was nothing like that. I'm sure. So that was new, different, and I enjoyed it even now. So definitely take a look at it.
Me too.
All right, let's see, friends. What else we have? Gappers list here. CRSK, we talked about Reggitti, our good buddy. Let's see what Reggetti's up to here. So Reggitti doing some moves this morning. Very nice. Down 5.4, but look at this. It was is a gap down right from the pre-market open, right? Well, the day, right? For 4 a.m. this morning. Shot up to 33. Previous day closed. Then since then has come back down and trying to continue here. But we now have some volume in this pre-market, which is adding up to 2.2 million shares traded. So clearly in play, Peter. And at 8:30, something just clicked off here or clicked on, and we are getting a lot more volume during this session now.
Yeah, well, Reggitti was an after hours earning play yesterday, but you're right, 8:30 things sort of I don't know what happened there. It spiked higher, it dropped lower. They look, they reported revenue. I mean, you got to keep in mind we've watched this company a lot more than you would think for a company of this size, right? I mean, keep in mind their Q3 results that they announced. They had 1.9 million in revenue and a net loss of 201 million. All right, so let's round this out for you. They made 2 million and lost 200 million. So, this is a company that we're definitely not watching this because of its earnings. That is not the phase of life that it's in. So, the expectations are on the development of its technology, and obviously they need cash to keep on rolling because they're burning through the better part of $1 billion a year here. So they need to keep the wheels greased, so to speak. So. Yeah, Reggitti. Look, it's often been in play. It's going to be in play today. I don't know how it's going to play. Again, don't really worry about the earnings. Did they make more or less revenue than expected? Who knows? Who cares? Did they lose more money than forecast? Does it matter? because if they lost more money, that just means they're spending on their infrastructure, and that can be perceived as a good thing. So while it's gapping down this morning, notice it's only down 5%. I would largely argue this is like the show, whose line is it anyway? The points don't matter.
Yeah, yeah. Agreed. All right, let's take a look here. I'm gonna have Reggitti, Peter. I think I like the pre-market actually. So I am
Yep.
gonna put it on the list here. I think it looks great. So much better morning as far as finding tickers to trade, because yesterday was not as easy to get things on the board here, but today we got a couple. All right, back to see what else is going on here. AI, did we talk about this one? I know we talked AI a little bit, but this is down 3.5, 231,000. Anything good? I mean, this we used to trade this and watch it, but not much lately.
I feel this is more a sympathy move, maybe, for some of the other AI that reported. I don't really see any news on it one way or the other. I maybe it's just being taken down as the general market is down this morning. But I've got nothing.
Yeah. All right. We'll leave it alone as well. And I think that's pretty much it, Peter.
Wolf.
Anything you like here? Wolf?
I see
WUL? Yeah.
Wolf on the list. TeraWolf was one of the earnings that I was going to mention because they had earnings after the close yesterday. Look, their earnings, they weren't all that bad. I mean, they had a decent quarter. They booked about 50.6 million in revenue, 7 million of it coming from AI services. They announced a whole ton of investment money that they'd taken over the quarter, 5 billion in new financing to fund their AI. Well, see, funny, TeraWolf's an older company, meaning they've been around for a while. So they're calling it their Rapid HPC platform, which I find interesting because that's old technology. I mean, heck, that was when I was doing IT. The high performance compute platforms. It feels like that's dated in terms of its terminology. Maybe not. Anybody active in AI or in IT these days? Do you still call them high performance compute? Like, isn't everything high performance compute now? I don't know. Anyways, whatever. They're funding their AI growth. So TeraWolf had earnings. There's a couple others, Carlos. I'll just mention in passing. ASTS Space. You guys know, like I like my space, but it's low volume. They had earnings after the close yesterday.
What's the ticker again?
Um,
ST what?
ASTS.
ASTS. Yep, there we go.
Yeah. One that we used to like to trade, Plug Power, PLUG. Also had earnings, but I mean, my God, they've got 6 million shares traded. But look at that horrible, horrible chart. I don't care if you use a 1 minute or a 5 minute. That is the epitome of barcode trading. That's computers trading against computers. You want to avoid that mess. So horrible trading, but yeah, they were on my earnings slate for mention. And last but not least, Carlos, how can we move on without talking about Beyond the Meat? And Andrew's not trading today, so he probably wasn't here to hear me, so I didn't have to add the. But that used to annoy him so much. I have to admit, I took a little bit of pleasure always saying Beyond the Meat because he would actually jump onto the microphone and say, "It's just Beyond Meat. You don't have to add the."
Yeah, I don't. That did bother him. Why? We never asked him why that
Remember
bothered him.
that?
Actually, yeah, it
I
did.
don't know.
And we said it. It was we started as a joke, because like
Yeah.
above and beyond from you guys
Yeah,
remember the
exactly.
Toy Story movie, right? So
I
we even
know
had
it.
the was a
It
space
it
guy
really
with a
it
burger
really seemed
sign.
to annoy. It was an outsized annoyance, and we
Yeah,
never figured out why, but it was just
yeah,
one of those things. So, anyways, it's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
teasing a sibling, right? It was, I think, why we did it. So yeah, and then
yeah,
he had the Pinterest whenever he had a Pinterest. It was the same era. Well, Pinterest was maybe a little bit earlier, but in any
yeah,
event. All right. So Beyond Meat had earnings. Look, they reported a net loss of 110.7 million on 70 million of revenue. So they lost more money than they made.
Yeah.
in the last quarter. And yeah, and at this point, people were expecting very different results. Also, if you look at the price action here, very barcode-ish, very, not good trading, but it's just blast from the past. So thought I'd end with that one.
Yeah. Not good, not good. All right, let's see here. What else? I see Oklo's making its way on the list this morning. So if we look at OKLO, it's on here today. Again, not doing a whole lot. All right, Peter. Anything else you like this morning?
Well, I think Nvda. I still like Nvda, as you know. I went a little crazy trading Nvda yesterday. Managed to end up making a little bit of money off of it. But thanks to you, Carlos, we refocused on Tesla, and it gave me some profit. It was actually looking like it was going to break 200 yesterday, and it did not. It was so close. Like it,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
came up to the high is 199.94 is yesterday's high, and it looked like it was going to get there, and it just could not get across that 200 mark. And there was like 4 or 5 million shares sitting there waiting for it, and it just couldn't cross the threshold. So I noticed today it's selling off. It's down 194, so we're below 195 at this point. If this is where we open. And the whole market, as we know, is moving down here. So, but I think it's worth keeping an eye on Nvidia just because it's an in-place stock, right? It could very
yeah.
well make another run for 200 today. Keep in mind, like we said, the bond markets are closed. So, like I warned you, that could mean reduced volumes in the equities market, right? We tend to get lower volume and a little less active price action. However, when something's in play, that also means that some of the big money that normally would keep these things stable sits on the sidelines. So it's tough. Nvidia is a weird stock, right? Because it is a massive stock, the biggest the world has ever seen, and of course the biggest in the markets here. However, um, it trades like a much smaller stock, so it can make outsized moves despite its size, and that could happen today. So it could go either way. This could do nothing, or it could really sort of get some price action movement if maybe some of the forces that kept it in check have taken the day off. So I'll be watching it one way or the other just to see if I can take advantage of the movement one way or the other. But I won't be surprised if it doesn't. If it doesn't dance for me, dance monkey. If it doesn't, then I won't do anything with it. I hope.
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
course, I said that, based on yesterday's performance, I may still try, even if it's not moving. But sometimes you don't know until after you've tried, right? Anyways, I'll
yeah,
be keeping an eye
yeah,
on it. Other than that, Carlos, the Tesla, we always keep an eye on. A similar type story to what I just talked about in terms of its ability to make outsized moves. So it might be worth watching. It's down about 1% here on average volume. So, but it does look interesting to me. And I'll just mention Apple because it's the only of the Magnificent Seven stocks that's gapping up right now. That being said, I look at the last few days on a daily chart. It looks horrible. That daily chart is pretty ugly.
Which one? Which
Actually
one,
on
Peter?
Apple.
Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty bad.
If you look at that daily chart, yeah, you can see, look how, it looks really flat. There was some movement within, each day, but it's been a little tougher to take advantage of that. You got to be fast and you got to be decisive. And it's uh anyways, but it's been interesting, but not easy. So there you
Yeah.
go.
Peter, I gotta step away for 2 seconds. My delivery's here. I'm gonna leave you with the
Okay.
announcements, and we'll be
But
right back.
but you
Yep.
okay. Well, then why don't we do that, guys? So whatever you choose to trade, I said I'm going to be looking at a couple of these ones we've talked about, plus some of the usuals. I did mention AMD. That'll also be on my list because I always watch AMD, even if I've been trading Nvidia significantly more. I'll keep an eye on AMD. But we'll see what transpires. For the chat room, despite being Veterans Day or Remembrance Day if you're here in Canada. I mean, it has a lot of names, doesn't it? Memorial Day, Veterans Day, Remembrance Day, Poppy Day, so many names. Armistice Day, there's another term for it. There's all sorts of them out there. Whatever you do, just remember those who have served and especially those who have given their lives to defend our freedoms. But we still have our activities in the chat room, starting with our trade books session, the small account options trade book that happens at 11 a.m., hosted by Phil in the webinar room for all of our elite members, followed by Brendan's focus on DAS Trader Pro and the setup there and configuration. If you've got configuration questions, you're scratching your head about how to get something done, that's a perfect place to go. That's in the onboarding room, so it's good for all membership classes because sometimes we get a lot of people who have just joined and are maybe a little frightened to ask questions in the main room. Don't worry about it. You should ask them whenever you run across them. As I always say, if you're thinking of the question, there's a dozen other people who would love to get the answer. But this would be a good focused area to get some in-depth response, and it may show you how to get through the menu system, know how to make those changes and configure that DAS Trader Pro tool the way you want. So that's at noon. And then, of course, tonight we've got our signature webinar. It looks like Thor is going to be leading that, talking about Camarilla pivot points and Atlas, which is great. Atlas is that tool on tradingterminal.com that you can leverage. Go to Trading Terminal if you want to get market data. And we use it every morning here. Of course, so my gappers list is on that. Is using it. I was getting the news and information, let alone the earnings calendar that you can get. And it's got a bunch of focus tools like the Atlas tool, like the journaling, like the replay mode. We talk about our funded account in there. Like there's a whole ton of trading tools that you can take advantage of. So check out tradingterminal.com. So, and if you want to join us at Bear Bull Traders, that's the community where we have a chat room and we have active conversations about stocks all day and other things. As you see, we like to talk stocks and movies and life and fun. And, you can't, trading is serious. We take it seriously. But all work and no play, as they say, makes Peter a dull boy. So we have great conversations. It's really a great group of people and very helpful. So if you want a supportive community, whether you're having a good day or especially when you're having a bad day, check out bearbulltraders.com and we can give you a hand because we know we're in this together. I promise you, no matter how bad your day is, no matter what mistakes you've made or what you're feeling, we've been there. We've been through it. We understand. Sometimes it's good to talk with people who know what you're going through, right? Because those around you are unlikely to also be traders, and it's good to have a community that will support what you're doing. So consider joining us at bearbulltraders.com. You can go to the main page, scroll down, and you'll see the different membership options. We have an intro offer. We've got monthly options you can get from membership, or you can go with the annual, which is always a good deal. But I'll give you a hint: if you want to go the annual, just wait. We often put it on sale, so you might want to join. Try it out. Make sure this is the right community for you, and then when we have a good sale, join with the annual, and you can jump right in and lock in that discounted price. Okay. All right, so that's what we've got for all of that stuff. Carlos will be back in a moment to do some levels for us. In the meantime, I'm going to get my list ready. As I said, I think I'm going to be focused on, my three mainstay ones are going to be Tesla, Nvidia, and AMD. I think I'm going to keep an eye on Apple as well, just in case. I mentioned it. I said I like how it's sort of moving against the market, even though the volume is pretty low here this morning. And then from those that we've talked about, I think I've marked Reggitti, RGTI. I'm going to watch CoreWeave, CRWV, and Big Bear AI, BBAI. So that's more than enough. That's a pretty big list. There's other things that may move here today. You just sometimes you got to pick your targets, right? You can't watch everything. You're better off, frankly, to pick a smaller list. And by the way, sometimes I am not the best example of that. I put too big of a list together. The newer you are at trading, the smaller your list should be. And don't be afraid of that, right? Watch a stock, wait for your opportunity. It doesn't mean you jump at every movement. It doesn't mean that you break your rules and you get afraid to miss the move and you jump in when the signals aren't there. It's just normally you don't have the ability to focus on multiple things. That's a developed skill, right? And if you're a relatively new trader, you might not have the ability. When I started, I could watch one stock. Then I felt like comfortable. I could watch two. Obviously, I've been doing this for like 8 years. I can watch multiple stocks. I would argue I'm probably still not great at it, right? I mean, I watch more than I can technically manage, but I'm traditionally not a huge open trader, so I've never had to worry about it because by the time my big trades come into play, right? The market narrows itself. Some of the stuff I watch is not good, and I can say, okay, I can eliminate those, and I can focus on the things that are moving over the course of the day. If you're an open trader like so many people, you really have to be selective. And yes, that means you take the risk that the thing you've picked may not be the thing that moves. And that's just the reality, right? Don't worry about it. There'll be another day. And if that happens to you, watch people's trades, congratulate them if it's gone well for them. By the way, that's one last thing I'll just mention. It looks like Carlos is back because charts are
Yep.
moving. But uh, you know, one thing you'll notice, keep an eye on this, right? If you're feeling bad about your trading and if you're feeling left behind because everybody else is having a good day, there's very few things I can guarantee you 100%, but I can guarantee you 100% that is not the case. We all love to share our trading day and our trades when it's going well. You rarely hear from those where it's not going well, right? What happens when it's not going well? We tend to internalize it. We keep it to ourselves. Rarely does people post and say, look at my crappy trade, right? They'll post and say, oh my God, I'm having an awesome day. Look at my trade, right? So no, for everyone that's posting a good trade, there's at least one other person out there that's having an absolutely shitty day. And if you're one of them, don't feel alone. It happens. Take it in stride and say, okay, it wasn't my day. Did my trades just not work? Or did I trade poorly, right? That's very different. And if you traded poorly, all right, let's learn from that. Deep breath, right? Let's take a look at it. What can I learn and what can I do better next time? If the trades just didn't work out, but you did what you were supposed to do, you can say, you know what? Them's just the odds, right? Again, using a poker
Yep.
analogy that I love so much, you can have aces and still lose the hand, right? You can have the best hand in all of poker and still lose. And you could lose to a 7-2, depending on what the flop is. You never know what's going to happen. So, sometimes that happens. All right. End
Yep.
of my I'm off my soapbox.
No, really good stuff, Peter. Rafsila says it's kind of too early for pizza delivery. My friend, it is never early for pizza delivery. In fact, the only reason I don't order pizza is because they're not open. But it's never too early for pizza, my friend. Pizza goes good at any time. All right, folks, let's get some levels in here. Then we'll hand it off to our guys over on the chat here. We'll start with CRWV, which is the first one on deck. If you look at this daily here towards the top, we're pretty set. Highs and lows for the last two trade days, doing a great job. Here on the high of the pre-market, if I could just move this over, it's just where's the high of the pre-market? 98.93. So we'll slam one there. 98.93 is the high of the pre-market right over here, and then towards the bottom, the low of the pre-market over at 93.67. So we got some pretty good action here on CoreWeave, and then towards the bottom there, we do have 90.43, and then just in case 87.48 on CoreWeave. So again, good volume, bouncing back from the pre-market lows right now. Let's see where this ends. Here's BBAI, the high of the pre-market at the moment, sitting at 7.15. The low is down at 6.44, and then if you look at this daily here, right with the price action, it seems to have a level. It's going to be 6.85, so we'll put one there too. Let's go towards the top above the high of the pre-market. There's a couple of levels here. We got 736, and we also have this area at 775. I think that's good enough for now. We can definitely go high, but let's see if this thing is even going to break out from that 715 before we start looking at A and higher. Towards the bottom, below 644, which is your low of your pre-market on the daily. I don't see a very clean level. The only area I see is 620. And it's not a strong level like the ones we have towards the top here. We have so many touches, but it's worth marking down. 620 is going to be the one there. Let's look at Reggitti, RGTI, and RGTI towards the top. You're pretty set highs and lows for the last two trading days, coming back down towards the low of the pre-market here, 30.94, excuse me. And then below that, we do have a very nice level back here in September, 29.17, and then below that, just in case, 26.42. Next we'll have Nvda. So Nvda, our good buddy, if I can type that, Nvda, there we go. Nvda, our good buddy here. Let's remove some of our older levels. We're just kind of stuck between the highs and lows of the last two trading days, especially yesterday's range. If you look at the top and the bottom of that range, we're almost right in there. The low of the pre-market is 194.67. The high is just below the previous day close at 198.91. And then towards the bottom, just going to mark down 191.71. You got some more highs and lows down there. And then towards the top, I'm going to pick off a few levels here. We got two Well, 200 was the big problem, which is already marked for you here by the previous day close and the highs from yesterday. 202 is the next one, and then just in case we get going, next area is around 205 of 55. We can refine that a little bit later if we even get anywhere near that. Last but not least is going to be Tesla. So Tesla here surrounded by the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days right now, going down to test the highs from 2 days ago. This would have been Friday, right? So Friday would have been the high that we're testing right now in this area. The high of the pre-market at the moment is going to be 442.99. We'll put a 443 there to make it easy. 442.99 is the high of the pre-market, and then above the highs and lows for the last 2 trading days towards the bottom, you're set as well. Once you put that low of the pre-market there, actually you don't even need to low the pre-market. It's the high from 2 days ago, so you're pretty set when it comes to Tesla. All right, folks. Peter, quick look at what our team is watching. Then less than 3 minutes to the market open.
Yeah, so we'll go real fast here because Brian, who will be trading live, is looking at Nvda, Tesla, CoreWeave, PLTR, and Oklo. And I think Paris agreed to step in for Andrew, who's still in New York. He should be trading live as well, and I don't see his list yet, but he's going to be watching Tesla. He loves Tesla. Just ask him. But Megan is going to be watching RGTI and AMD, and I already talked to you guys about my list. The rest of it is available. Oh, it's Thor? All right, sorry. Thor's stepping in. All right, Thor's going to be trading live. Thor is going to be watching Nvidia, Microsoft, and of course his futures contract. So thank you, Thor. My apologies. So he'll be going live with Brian right away. Let's hand the chat room over to him. Carlos, you and I, let's make our transition over to our live trading setup here. And let's all get ready. We got a little less than 2 minutes to the open.
All right, absolutely. All right. Brian's got the floor. Let me mute him here. And there it is. Okay, perfect. All right, we got our 1 minute. We got our 5 minute. Sweet. Good to go.
All right. What do we got? What do we got? We got Reggitti. We've got CoreWeave. I got to put it down here. We've got Big Bear. All right, 1 minute, Carlos.
Yep, ready. Ready to go here.
Ready to rock and roll. All right. Let me ease the platform here. I got to get rid of some of the stuff here that I'm trading. Actually, what I need to do is I need to call up my Atlas tool. I often forget to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
Got the Atlas up. Oh, nothing on the secondary today. So we're just going straight to the primary list. Nothing on the secondary. No popcorn tickers.
Okay. I don't know which way this market is going to go, up or down, guys. Just wait for your signals, whether they happen right away or later. There's the bell. Markets are open. Let's we go. What are we going to go? Oh, some immediate selling. Let's see. Where are we going? Where are we going? Yeah, I'm looking for a pullback here on Nvidia, and then maybe a short play. We'll have to see. It was balanced actually before the open, and now the top side orders have been pulled largely, and we have a lot of downside orders here. So this is interesting. Let's see what we get. Well, the market is popping higher. The SPY and the Qs are popping higher.
Yep. Got my eyes on the scanners as well. See what's moving, what's getting volume. Nvidia dropping here.
Yeah, I'm short Nvidia.
Nice.
See how far we go. Oh no. Whoops. That was not what I intended to do.
Did you get out of it?
I'll
Hope
just
not.
Yeah, I did by accident. I added into my trade and then I did the automatic. I stopped to break even and then it popped up and stopped me out. I
Hmm.
didn't mean to do that. So maybe I'll get a
Oh man.
pop back.
Yep.
I can get back into this.
And re-enter.
Come
Ah,
on.
Tesla.
Yeah.
Tesla, nice 1 minute engulfing here, pushing up above the VWAP.
Yeah.
Pretty good move.
Let's see. Come on. Maybe I didn't miss out on anything here. What's Nvidia doing?
Wow, Tesla.
I don't, yeah, maybe I'm happy that I got out of Nvidia here. I don't know. It's got a lot of downside orders, but it's
Yeah.
not going to get them. In fact, we're getting a little bit of a pop up here. Is this just a head fake? Are they just trying to get people out?
I don't know. Nvidia's doing the same thing. Nvidia's also, I'm sorry, Tesla.
Well, that's
Tesla's
what
doing the same thing as
yeah.
well. Let's see if it can hold the
Oh.
VWAP here. Um, in nothing yet. You just got a short and then an out.
Yeah, that's look at this. Maybe I'm
Wow.
happy that I accidentally got out of Nvidia. That would have been a loss for me had I been in this, because now it's back to where I would have stopped out, had to stop out back at the VWAP here. So let's see what it
Yes.
does now. I don't, like I said, sometimes on these days when the bond market is closed but the stock market is open, you can get unexpected movements,
Yep.
unusual movemts. So see what we get here.
Great questions. Why do I wait 5 minutes after the open? So I wait 5 minutes because the data has shown that when I start a trade before the 5 minutes, I lose money. I lose more than I win. So the
Hmm.
data shows that. It shows that you lose more when you start your trades before the 5 minute mark. So um, I just don't trade. I wait for a little bit longer. The only one I trade, you guys know, is the engulfing pattern. Now this pattern, I do trade well. This 1 minute engulfing, that's the only one I trade prior to 5 minutes. Everything else I don't touch. And this is a good one here that I missed, unfortunately, man. Oh, that's a nice one. And it looks like it wants to go
Hmm.
higher on Tesla.
Yeah.
Let's see. Maybe a good 5 minute ORB on Tesla. What I'm thinking. Is Nvidia looking the same, or what's Nvidia up to here?
Nvidia is really, really weird
Let's
today. It's again spotty. I am
yeah,
short Nvidia again.
nice.
I got short and then added at VWAP when it popped back up because it didn't hit my stop. I'm looking good on it now as we head down. I'm gonna take a small partial, but I am gonna take a partial here. I'm gonna take
Good
another
job.
one
You
if
did a
we
good
get to
job.
low of day. So I can show you guys this trade. Again, it's an interesting trade for me. There it is. It's on my screen. So you can see how I added and then so I got in and then added way up at VWAP. So I have a big stop on this thing. Uh, but now my stop is at break even, which you can see is right over 195. And I just might get stopped out. This thing is so bouncy. And then my partial was so tiny. I'm really looking for a big move here. What the heck? This is Carlos, this feels like another day of just of
Yeah,
strange
morning
price action.
choppiness. Yeah,
Like I said, I was ready for this. I was waiting for a little bit, less usual price action with again the bond markets being closed. It certainly happens. But CoreWeave is dropping right now.
yes, I saw that hit the scanners, man. Turbo breakdown is blowing that ticker up, and
Yeah.
it's dropping well, dropping really nice. I'm on the other hand thinking Tesla long. I haven't got in, but it's just I'm concerned with the choppiness here. But to me, it
Mm.
looks like it wants to break out here. I missed a good entry at the 440.25.
This is
Um,
so strange. Now there's orders 195.30. People are stacking a bunch of orders up there. And there's a bunch of orders that have been sticking around at 194. That's what I was hoping it would go get on
Yeah.
Nvidia, looking at the Atlas tool, it's showing me where all these orders sit. Uh, so I just, it's the risk is, of course, it's going to go take me out at my break even and then make the big drop. No, no, no. I'm not telling you that's what you need to go do, Nvidia. Please, please. I'm
Just
just saying
talking out
there's a
loud.
risk.
Uh,
I'm just talking out loud. I'm just trying to let people know what I'm looking and waiting for here. Come on, let's go. Now, drop. Just release.
AMD.
Just let's
Yeah, if anything, I
come
like
on.
AMD as a
Come on,
long, guys.
buyers. No, come on, buyers. What are you doing? Just relax for a bit. Come back later. Come back this afternoon.
All right. I am long AMD for a 5-minute breakout here. So
Oh my
long
God, it's
AMD.
coming. There's clearly some sellers right at 195 because this thing keeps coming like within pennies of my stop, which fortunately my average price just happens to be a little bit above 195. That's the only thing that's kept me in the game here. And look at how many times it came up and came within like pennies of my stop. Here we go. There, that's what I was looking for.
Nice
All right, now I'm
pop.
going to take
Nice
a
pop.
partial. Oh my God, that took a lot of patience. All right, still have the big orders at 194. It didn't actually get there. It didn't take them out. So let me just expand this for you
That's
guys.
good. My AMD is still holding
But,
here. MU down as well. CoreWeave continues to sell off. Hopefully my AMD doesn't follow suit with these with the semis.
so
And
if we do
Tesla.
get the break of 194 for guys on my trade, I'm gonna watch it. If it comes back and retests 194, I'll take the partial immediately. If it keeps pushing lower, I'm gonna wait on my next partial. So Nvidia, I've got to say, finger on the trigger here. Of course, it might come and stop me out. I just don't know what this thing is going to do right now. This is this is not the smooth type of movement we're used to in Nvidia, right? I mean, last week I was
Yeah.
able to take advantage of that smooth movement, and they gave me some great trades. Yesterday and today, not so much. Not so much. Did you close your poll off there on Fight Club, Carlos?
I did not, but I can. If
Okay.
we,
Oh
we'll
no,
do it, we'll do it
just curious.
another. We'll do it at 10. We'll close the poll at 10. So right now, here's what we have so
Okay.
far for the poll: 514 votes. 40% have not watched Fight Club.
Now, if I could say, Carlos, we have twice as many votes on the poll as we do likes. And it would be nice if you could, if you did vote or if you are voting, if you could also hit a like in there. We'd appreciate
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Slam the likes. Really
That would help
appreciate
us
it.
out.
And I did it this morning as well, so I can
All
confirm that
right.
I did hit the like button there. All right, so let's see if AMD can hold here. AMD struggling. I do got the previous day close, which is nice, and the VWAP here, so I'm hoping that can act as support. But I like the fact that both Nvidia and AMD, MU are both down. That's not good for
Yeah.
me there.
So that's a little risky. So you're long AMD, I'm short Nvidia, and normally these guys do
They
like to move
move
together.
together. Yeah, yep, yep.
Yeah,
The
so
one thing I liked is that when yours shot down pretty hard, AMD didn't move as much, so maybe it can
yeah,
hold here. But when MU
yeah.
started moving down, and I'm looking at the scanners, guys. So here's the scanners brought to you by TradeTerminal.com. You can see CoreWeave hitting the turbo breakdown, MU hitting the turbo breakdown. So these are tickers that are moving down. Look at CoreWeave just destroying this turbo breakdown. So it gave you a lot of signals there as it kept lower and lower. So MU popped up here right when you said Nvidia was dropping. MU also taking a bit of a hit. So let's see AMD. So I'm long in two tickets right now. I'm long both Nvidia and Tesla as well. So let's see how we hold up here. Tesla holding the V up as well, and so is AMD at the moment. Nike hitting the gap up.
So remember I mentioned that one of the ones to take a look at is Apple, and look at Apple. It's actually
Yeah.
bucking the trend here. Whereas the SPY and the Q, if
Oh
you look at the charts for
wow,
them, they look
that
absolutely
is
horrid.
beautiful.
Apple is moving higher. Good VWAP bounce there. It sort of got support off the VWAP, and now it's moving a little higher. So nice, nice move. Come on, Nvidia. This is what I'm looking for the move down. Let's go. This time break
Yeah,
194. There we go. There. It did finally break 194. It didn't hold it though. All right,
nice.
I'm gonna take that partial here because it didn't hold it. It spiked through and then yeah. All right.
Let's see here. I haven't managed to trace like this in a long time. It's been a while. But we got AMD and we got Tesla, both long here.
Looks like in the chat room, Thor is long in Netflix. He got a trade on
Oh,
Netflix. Just got
okay.
his full trade. So
Nice.
that was him. He was, he's in once and then he's all out. Got his
Yep.
target, so
Yep.
that's great.
You'll be on later today with oh no, Dr. Vanessa's tomorrow is Tuesday, so he'll be on later today and he'll talk you guys can ask him questions all about that trade. So awesome. He's trading live in chat today with us, friends. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So what's my next target here on Nvidia? Now that we're below 194, well, 193,
Uh,
I guess, would be. There's a bunch of orders stacked around 193.30, 2010, and 193. So we'll see if we can get down there.
looks like Tesla's gonna break the V up here, so I might have to get down and out of this one. Oh wow, it's a nice drop. Yeah, I'm out of Tesla. Ooh, look at that, friends. Looks like everybody had their stop in the same spot because we all jumped down and it just dropped the stock there. So we all had the VWAP as our place. All right, so out of Tesla, only AMD left. AMD continues to just try to hold on to this previous day close. We'll see if this does anything. And then Peter, you're still short Nvidia.
Nvidia. Yep.
Oh look, this sold off
Yep.
pretty nice,
Still.
man.
Yeah, still short Nvidia. You can
Yeah,
see
look
my
at that.
trade here. My stop is still in the same spot. So I'm looking for a move lower before I take a
Nice,
next
nice, nice.
partial. I partialed right at 194, like I said I was going to do. And who knows? Who knows? Like again, it could come up and stop me out. The good news is with the recent price action, my stop is now above break even. So um, my stop is above VWAP, which is what I'm
VWAP.
trying to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
so that means that I've got a little bit of room. Even if this thing comes back and retests the VWAP, I might be able to hold on. In fact, if it really tests and starts to drop again, I might be able to add. But we'll see what happens. I don't want to get ahead of myself. It could just be a matter of seconds, and this thing spikes up and stops me out. So it is Nvidia. It has the ability to do that.
Oh man, Apple.
So
Goodness,
good.
it's starting to
So
blow up the gap up list now. I mean, the turbo breakup, Apple. So it's just
yeah.
tearing it apart. Good job for those that took that one. And Nvidia it looks like it wants to lose more here, Peter. The way it's setting up, so that's good.
Yeah. So so they're asking what my strategy, TBR, my strategy, it was really my traditional rising devil. So meaning that it was gapping down this morning. I was looking for it to sort of come back and retest a level of support, which would be the VWAP in this case that I was using. And that was my short. And yes, I did go short. It wasn't 10 seconds into the open. It was about a minute and a half into the open, my first trade. And then I said I got stopped at a break even, which turned out to be good because it would have been a full loss for me because the thing spiked up to VWAP and it really couldn't seem to push any higher. And I was seeing on the level two or the Atlas tool a lot of downside orders. So it looked like the deep pockets and the big money were positioning themselves on the downside of this thing. So I really wanted to get in with them. I got in again, as you can see, and I didn't get a great fill. I was all the way down here at 194.80. And then when it went back up and supported that level above VWAP, above 195, I added into my trade. my stop had always been above these candles, right? So it was about 195.50. And that gave me a good average, which I really needed, by the way. That ad was what I needed because it's the only way I was able to hold through all of these pullbacks that came up to the 195 but never quite broke it. and and as you can see, I got my partials, and so yeah, the theory was as straightforward from an entry was my Rising Devil, which I've described in the past. And I do have webinars. If you're a Bearable Traders member, you can go see what the Rising Devil, what it looks like, how it's structured. That's all in Bearable Traders. And I do think there's actually a short video, strategy video in Trading Terminal as well. I'll have to go look and confirm that, but I'm pretty sure we've got a Trading Terminal educational video on that.
For which strategy, Peter? Which
The
one?
Rising Devil.
Oh yeah, I think I want to say yes, but you know what? It could have been there, and then maybe they took it down because they update that stuff. So I can't say for certain because I have not seen it myself there. Oh.
Yeah.
But I know at one point we did have a couple. Actually, I think it might be under my name, the videos thing. All right, do that. Yeah.
Here we go. All right, so we're moving lower on Nvidia. AMD's going higher for you, Carlos.
Yeah, I took a
So
partial up here at 240, just below 246. Just looking at my
nice.
Tesla trade, trying to figure out why did I get long in this trade. We'll have to review that a little bit later. So I just trying to think of my thought process there, and it doesn't make sense. So on Tesla, yeah, I'm looking at him like, you know,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it is what it is. I have to review that later. All right, Michael is long on Apple, partial at 274. Very nice.
Good. That's good.
Is it on
Yeah,
the
big
Lambos and
move up
garbage
on
truck?
Apple.
Is it on
Big
the
move up on
Lambos and
Apple.
garbage truck? Mojito. Let's take a look. I need to
I don't
find
know.
the winner of Brian's second book. Marcos won the first one.
Mm.
He emailed me, and I have the code because I took the picture, but he has not emailed me. So, if you won the second book, I forget the code. It's all numbers and like one letter, one D or something in the middle. Send me an email if you want Andrew's second book. It's so I can send you the link.
Is this the
Gotta hear from you.
audiobook or physical book?
No, I think it's the audiobook. Yeah, I believe it's the audiobook.
Audiobook. Okay, cool. Can listen to it on the go,
Yeah.
or while you're in the bath or whatever,
hmm I find the audio.
gardening.
So for me personally, these type of books are tough on audio, right? Because they got graphs, they got this, they got that. But once you've read the actual book, as a refresher, they're awesome. They're
Mm,
awesome to listen
yeah.
to again. So I've done that before. I would listen
All
to a
right.
book again, you know.
I
Oh,
took another
Peter, look at
partial on
this.
Nvidia.
Yeah. Yeah, very nice, very nice.
I
AMD
see.
is back to the
AMD came
previous
down
day
hard,
close.
Carlos.
Yeah,
Sorry
yeah.
about that.
No, so good. I took a partial on it already. So
All right.
my if it breaks the previous day close, we'll get out on it here. But yeah, it could not hold the pressures from everything selling down, I guess. Especially
Yeah,
on the
it
semi
is.
side.
There is a lot of sell pressure going on here.
Yep. Okay, we'll get out here on AMD. So just to show you my trade here, we took a partial right at the top here and then just right back down. So again, a lot of selling pressure on AMD. Wants to go higher, but given how everything is selling down, it just couldn't hold here. Could not hold. All right, let's see what else we got. Reggitti not doing anything. BBAI back at the VWAP. BBAI, careful on that one. And CoreWeave. CoreWeave had a beautiful sell-off too. This was nice, man. You have breakdown here as well. Right at the out of the gates, this was pretty good. Sell down all the way to 92. Has recovered since then. Reggitti breaking the VWAP after such a messy start here, though. I'm not sure about this one.
Wow. Apple just had a great move. That was a wonderful
Yeah, man.
move.
We and again, it did nothing in the pre-market, so we wouldn't have it on our radars. I think you might have mentioned it today,
I did. I did, yeah.
right?
Because
We were talking about
it
how
was the only one that
bad the
was
daily.
green where everything else was
Okay.
red. So yeah.
Yep. Yep. But as far as pre-market had nothing here.
No, it didn't really have any price action. It was just happened to be gapping up a bit. So yeah, I'm sitting real pretty here on Nvidia. Great trade for me.
Yes, beautiful breakdown here, man. And it might not be done. Let's see. Let's see how things go here. And now AMD's
I'm
turning too.
Yeah. I'm betting that it's not going to go that much lower. I did take two partials down here around the 193 area. Now I could be wrong. We'll see. I may hold the rest of my size and for a longer term. Like I might be in this all day if it doesn't get a significant increase. And like Carlos, like we're talking, at some point, I hope that maybe around 10:30, maybe around 30, 40 minutes, it might get a big pullback and an opportunity for me to add for another lower move, I hope, but we'll see. Uh, I've been stopped
Oh,
out so many times that I'm ready for it if that's what happens.
oh yeah, absolutely. Mike is getting Ola at 275. Well, got Ola at 275 on Apple. Um, yeah,
Did it ever
beautiful
hit?
trade.
I don't think it hit 275, did it? No. But
No, he wanted 275.
oh,
Sorry, he
okay.
wanted 275, but he got out
Okay.
before the drop is happening here. I don't know if I trust any VWAP breakouts with all this selling pressure we're getting on the big tickers. So, like Reggitti right now is trying to do something. I don't think it has the
Yeah.
juice unless the market is going to be helping it. Um, so I think we just have to sit tight on it for a little bit.
Nice.
Let's see,
Okay, well, you shorted
BBAI.
Nvidia, Kumar. Awesome. I hope you did it based on your own analysis. Don't just follow me in a trade. I never want anybody to follow either one of us. As you
Yeah,
would have
yeah.
learned yesterday if you were trying that, that wouldn't have been a great
That
strategy because,
doesn't work.
yeah, yeah.
How does this look? Um,
Okay.
yeah, do not
Well,
follow, do not follow. Only follow our green trades. And if you don't know what those are, 100%, then don't do
yeah.
it, right?
If you know what those are, then tell us because we don't know which ones they're going to
Yeah, yeah,
be, which is why
exactly.
we have to take all the trades we do, right?
Absolutely.
So,
I'm looking at BBI. It has a great VWAP breakout setup, but the problem is the volume is not. It's not great. The level two is great. As far as it
mm,
going, looking a little bullish, but the volume is just seems, I don't know, doesn't seem all there. And I just don't like the selling pressure we're getting. I mean, things are starting to bounce a little bit now. I see Tesla coming up a little bit, Nvidia not so much. So you're starting to see a little ease off at least the gas pedal on the highway to hell track here, but it's a tough one. Let's see. Let's
yeah.
see.
The markets overall, the Qs and the SPY are pretty choppy today. Again, not surprised. I'll remind everybody again, the bond markets are closed. And when the bond markets are closed, that means a lot of money sits on the sideline, right? Some of the deep pockets on Wall Street don't like to trade when because you can get out of sync between the bond and the equity markets. Um, it is a pseudo holiday. It is Veterans Day in the US, Remembrance Day here in Canada. which is why the bond markets are closed. So, again, what does that mean for stocks and our trading on the equities market? Well, it just means you could get lower volumes, which could result in one of two things: outsized moves, right, that might normally get stopped, that just take off and run, or very choppy price action that just moves sideways. And
Okay.
I would argue right now it feels like on the overall market indices, we're seeing a little bit of both, right? Overall, it's very choppy, but look how, like, for instance, the SPY just moved from the bottom to the top of the range it's set today. It's not a big range, but it still moved from the bottom to from the top down to the bottom of the range and from the bottom back up to the top in very short order, right? That's not what you normally see at this time of day. So.
Yeah. So I did take this BBAI via breakout here. We got our signal. Let's see if it can actually hold. Stop is going to be 660. We're not staying long in this, so I know it's only 10 cents, but you don't want to stick around too long on these lower price stocks. So I'm long. We're looking for the high of the day if we can get it. But we also got the 685 level. I don't know where this level is from. I marked this, so I should know. Pre-market high. Pre-market high before the pop at the open. So that's what that is. You can see that right there. Pre-market high. And let's see. All right. Let's see. Level 2 looks good on this, man. I hope it actually pans out. Now, you cannot trade just off the level 2 alone. But it's definitely giving positive signals here. So
That's good.
hopefully
I hope you get that
it pays
move. It
off.
looks
Yeah.
good. It looks good. Let's see. Have you looked at let me take a look at the atlas on it for Big Bear. And
Uh,
yeah, well, interesting. Actually,
that
I'm
let's
gonna
see where it
aggregate
is.
here lower.
I
Yeah,
need a
not a
good
lot.
settings because mine doesn't look like the way Andrew's and yours look. So I need to figure out what
What do
settings
you
you guys
what do
got.
you
Hold on a second. Let's see
what
here.
do you got? Let's take a look at what you're
Because
looking
Andrew
at.
did point out mine didn't look like he has good bubbles. Oh, it looks different today. Why does it look different today?
Well, let's
That
see.
looks that
What are
looks
you, what are
clearer.
your aggregate?
So I got
What are you
we'll
watching?
start
Nvidia?
let's start with
Nvidia.
Nvidia, yeah. So I got Nvidia 100 ms,
Okay.
right? I have
Yeah.
aggregate levels 5 levels.
Uh, okay.
I have
Yeah.
whatever linear color and then sensitivity. Oh, this you told me to move up. I remember that. Like 4, right? I'm just watching my trade here. 660 will stop out of it.
Yeah.
Did get a
Now, on
rejection.
it on an Nvidia, I would aggregate for 10 levels, just because that means it's basically you get 10-cent increments, right? You don't
Right,
need
right.
less than 10-cent increments on Nvidia. Now, when I was looked at Big Bear AI, it wasn't enough, right? So I had to reduce that. So I was aggregating for only 5 levels. So I had 5-cent increments on Big Bear AI. You could probably
See,
even go down
but
lower.
my mice look so flat though. You see that?
Well, that's because you've got a whole lot of. So go put your cursor over on the very right hand margin and use your scroll wheel. Right hand, like in the black on the right hand
In
margin,
the black.
and then
Yeah, yeah.
use the
Oh,
scroll wheel.
okay. Okay. Yep, yep,
See,
yep.
it's how much you want to
Gotcha.
see.
Yes,
Now
yes.
I've
And then
taken
I
it and
can.
I've actually reduced it so that mine looks very flat as well because I want to see more levels. I'm not so worried about the seeing the bubbles. I'm more worried about seeing the levels. So and that's new, Carlos. They've added that function in the last I don't know, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Stopping out, guys, on BBAI because we did get a drop here, unfortunately. So I am
Yeah, it's
stopping out.
that's
That's
too bad. I'm sorry
660.
about that.
Yeah, it's okay. We didn't risk much. 10 cents only. We're not gonna, and I'm not taking a boatload of shares in a stock that's under $10.
Okay.
So, all right. So you did 4. So on something like BBAI, you do 5. That's what it is. These are cents.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
Okay, I got it. Got it. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, don't do that. So don't double click because double click brings the sensitivity back down. I think I've been doing that. Just double clicking
Yeah, and
for no reason.
the good thing is it'll remember your settings if when you exit and go back in now. So, yeah, see.
Okay, gotcha. Yep, yep, I see it.
Changes. There you go. So.
4. All right, that looks
All
much
right.
better. Okay, I was trying to figure out why my stuff was not looking great. I'm like, why is everybody? And Andrew called me on. He's like, you need to do this. I'm like, I tried to do what he told me. It didn't work. So I'm like, I don't know what I
Yeah.
need to do. But it's like I got it now.
There you
All
go.
right.
See? It's one of those
Very
things that
good.
it sort of seems obvious after you know how to do it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
It's
not so
not so obvious
obvious.
at first. Right.
Yeah. So PLTR really choppy today. PLTR, look at the weird. It's very tight range here, but it's just been bouncing up and down and up and down and up and down in this range. So I hope nobody here has got stuck in all this mess in PLTR. Or if you're a range trader, maybe you're able to take advantage of this. But I don't know that we have a lot of range traders here amongst us. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Range trading is very valid. It's just it takes there's a lot of discipline and skills needed in range trading.
Yeah.
Range trading is one of those ones where you can often have a lot of winners, but there are a lot of little winners, and then you have a few big losers. So it's just a different way of trading. Oh, there you go. So Ben, you've got
Mm,
stuck twice in PLTR. Yeah, I can see that, right? Because it made it look like it was going to go somewhere several times. Whether you thought it was going up or down, I mean, I don't know because I wasn't watching it at the time and seeing where the orders were. But yeah, it looked like it was about to go do something interesting and then didn't. It looks like about I said several times, 3 or 4 times. So
yeah. Just remember, we're only an hour, a half hour into the open, so give it time. We
yeah,
saw Nvidia do this. Was it Tesla yesterday? Who did it to us yesterday? I think it was Tesla for a little bit. Then it broke out, and then Nvidia also broke out. So, one of my rules is if I get stopped out twice in the same setup, I take a pause. I take a break and just wait because you might just not be in sync with the overall market and just give it a
yeah,
little bit. You look at this 5 minute, it's tough with this wicks, both up and down. So,
yeah.
you clearly got a range. We'll call it, we got a couple of wicks that are a little bit higher, but definitely 192, right? And then you have towards the bottom 190.80, right? We'll call it there even lower. But clearly got this back and forth here. And Nvidia did that for us uh yesterday. Yesterday.
And if I could, guys, I'd like to come back to a comment that I made earlier pre-market, right? About watching things. So today could be one of those days that could be very frustrating. We told you at the outset, right? It could be one of those markets that gives you behaviors that aren't usual because of the closure of the bond market. But I also mentioned you got to limit how much you watch. And I find today's a good, interesting day where there were things that were moving, but they were not necessarily the things that you expected. If you're in the chat room, right, Mike posted a great trade. He was trading Apple that we mentioned, and Apple had a great move higher. You probably weren't watching it, right? And if you weren't watching it, then you can only say, hey, congratulations to those that got a good move on it. I'm looking at it going, what a great trade that was. But I wasn't watching it. So there's nothing I can do about it. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
I got a
Yeah.
decent trade on Nvidia, but it took me a little bit of work because that's what I was focused on. Thor, he had a focus on Netflix. His tools raised it up. His scanners sort of gave him Netflix, and he got a great trade on Netflix. I mean, I wasn't watching Netflix. I wasn't even close to looking at Netflix. So, I can look at it and say, wow, that was a great move. And congratulations to him for catching it. But, I wasn't on that whatsoever. So, whatever situation you're in, I found it when I was starting out trading, it was very easy to get frustrated and even angry at those that had good trades and that had traded stuff because, they did and you didn't. I think maybe some perspective and time has helped me sort of, just be a little more zen about it and say, you know what, good for them, right? I didn't do anything wrong. You just can't watch everything. So those people that got good trades, I wish them well. And today, Carlos, Carlos, look, man, you weren't watching the wrong things. You were taking trades based on your strategy,
Yep.
but they're
Yep.
so far they just haven't worked out.
They haven't worked. Yeah. Except for
And
Tesla.
you've been
Tesla is one that I'm looking at like, why did I take this trade? This is not really one of my trades, right? But yeah, for the
okay,
most part, the
right?
other ones, have been trades like this right here. I would take this trade every single time I see it, and if I see it again, I would take it again, right? So you're right, Peter. It's just trades that
Okay.
have not worked out. The other one, BBAI, this is a if you block this here, this is a textbook VWAP breakout, right? And we got the signals. Even the level 2 at one
Yeah.
point was looking positive. It just didn't work out. And that's going to happen, right? You're not always going to get your move, no matter how good the setup is, right? So it's not guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed.
Yeah, and it's a lot harder than we make it look to be calm through your trading, right? Carlos is a great example, man. He is Mr. Mellow, right? Win or lose, you can barely know, right? Whether
Yeah, yeah,
Carlos is having a big banner day to the top side or every trade has been a loser,
yeah,
you
yeah.
rarely will you know, right? And that's good. That's good. He can manage the emotion. He's like, I'm sticking to my rules the best I can. You know, not perfect, like he showed you on Tesla. Every once in a
Mm-hmm.
while, you know, mistakes happen, but you know, he sticks to the game plan as much as he can. And when he sort of when the game plan when he puts it aside and said, okay, I made a bad trade on Tesla, he comes right back and says, well, this is a good trade. Big Berry Eye, good trade, good setup. Let me get back to my rules, get back to the basics, right, and do what I'm supposed to do and move on. That one didn't work. You
Yeah.
know what? If he sees another one, you know, I'm very confident. Carlos, you'll be able to take that next one and say, hey, look, it's
Oh yeah,
another
yeah.
signal, another setup, right? And off you go. Guys, that's a learned skill. You build that over time. You know, if you are frustrated and angry, or even if you're euphoric and excited because you had a good trade, it's lovely. Acknowledge the emotions, feel them, but
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
takes a lot of work to not let them affect your next trade, good or bad, right? Because you could be euphoric on a really good trade, and that could do one of two things to you, right? It could make you terrified to take the next trade because you don't want to lose those profits, even if it's a perfect setup, or it could make you over enthusiastic and you're going to take bad
Yeah.
trades thinking
Overconfident.
I'm on a
Yeah.
roll, baby, right? I
Mm-hmm.
can't lose. Let's go. And then you start giving back those profits. So you need to manage the emotions, good or bad. On the downside, if you're having a bad day, you can either do one or two things, right? You can shut down and just, you know, get frustrated and do nothing, which may not be the right approach, or you could just start to double down and you take angry trades. And it's the very same as the euphoric trade scenario,
Oh,
right? Now
yeah.
you're just
I
trying to
done
make back
both.
your losses and right? They're both
Oh
signs
yeah.
of lack
Oh
of
yeah.
discipline. And we've been there. We get it.
Oh
So
yeah.
this is why I'm telling you this. I know I'm going on a little bit of a rant here, but I want you guys to understand those emotions you're feeling, if you're feeling them, we get it. We've been there. We've done it. So, you know, don't
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
alone. And I tell you, it does and it can get better. It takes work. It takes a heck of a lot of work, right? Time in the seat, continuous watching, acknowledge your emotions, manage them, figure out how to get better at reacting when you feel that frustration or that excitement build. So there you go. Yes, that was my dad's speech. I'm done. But you know, hopefully that's helpful to you. If nothing, I hate people out there thinking, why me, right? Why is this happening to me? Why is everybody else doing well and I'm the only one that's struggling? You're not. It
Mm-hmm.
just feels that
Yeah.
way when you're sitting
Yeah.
alone at home staring at the computer screen and you're seeing red, right? Big negative symbols in front of your daily profit. It's easy to feel put upon and the market hates you and right, this is never going to work. We get it. So I just want you to know, take a deep breath. We'll still be here. We'll help you through it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was looking at some of the
All right.
stuff Andrew's put on Instagram. He's actually at the New York Stock Exchange, looks like. And
It looks like, yeah.
just yeah, let's look at here. He was there to ring the bell ceremony, which is nice. It's nice. I've been to one of these. Pretty cool. So there it is. There's the bell. And yeah, there you got
Alto. Oh, we've seen
a couple
Alto
of people.
before. Alto
Yeah. Yeah.
Neuroscience. Okay.
There they are. Very nice, very nice.
All the
It's
it's
New York
funny, eh?
Stock Exchange, man. It's really nice. Like if you haven't I don't know if they do public tours anymore, if you have to go with someone, but it's really nice to see like the ceiling and everything way it's set up. You know, it's definitely a nice tour
Yeah.
if you could take one.
What
Um,
what I find interesting, Carlos, in that video that Andrew posted is that you know, back in the day, where he was standing would have been filled with traders. The whole point of that was you're ringing the bell above the open outcry floor, and there would have been
yeah, yeah.
people, you know, at the bell trading stocks and
Mm-hmm,
with their
mm-hmm.
smocks on, right? And waving
It's
their tickets
empty.
and everything. And
Yeah,
now who's there? Tourists. It's just
yeah,
tourists.
yeah. It's you got a couple of people like 12 per station or maybe less. Like no less. What am I talking about? 12? No,
Yeah,
it's very very
yeah,
empty. You know. So um,
yeah. It's not the
but,
same. I mean, because it's all gone electronic. It's not like it used to
yeah,
be. But still, it's funny. It's interesting to see. I like it.
yeah.
All right, we Nvidia just went to a new low of day. I did not take a partial. I'm still waiting on this. I was hoping for
What
a
level are you
bigger
waiting for?
pullback. I'm either waiting for me to take another partial. It's either got to get down all the way down to 190, or I want to pull back up towards the VWAP, and then I'm going to add into this trade. I mean, my break even stop loss is now a good dollar, almost a dollar above the VWAP. So I've got a lot of room to play with this. I can just let it go, right? I'm in no
Yeah,
rush.
I'm looking
I'm
at
here
that.
all
Yep,
day,
yep.
right? I either want a big move so I can take another partial lower, or I actually would prefer, because it would mean more money if we can get a pullback, I can add into my trade, and then it can run lower. So we'll see what happens.
Ali, we have been lacking on the trades. You know what? On the likes, it's because we've been lacking on the likes because I haven't been asking. Like, you know, we don't ask. We hate to bother people, man. I'm one that listen, man. I hate to ask people. Like if how can I put it? If my neighbor, for example, there's people that will do this. They'll go to their neighbors, they'll borrow stuff left and right. I can't do that, man. I can do that. I had this one situation where the gentleman moved into a new house and he, you know, big house with a lawn. He needed a snowplow. You know, the first time you move
Okay?
in, the first snowstorm, okay, the neighbor came over, helped him out. The second time, be ready. Like, be ready. You know, don't be
Yeah.
inconveniencing people. Be ready. So, this the likes of the same way. You know, we ask for them. We hate bothering you guys, but it does make a difference. So I will ask for them now since we're talking about it. But that's why we're kind of low. We're sitting at 396. By now, we're usually at you know 400, 450. But we're pretty close. We're pretty close. But thank you guys. Really appreciate it. It does help us out a ton. I know that it's annoying to take the time to ask people to hit the like button, but it does mean a lot to the channel and to me and Peter. So, really appreciate it if you could do that. Yes, yes.
Yep. We would.
All right, let's see here. All right, don't see anything I like at the moment. Um, wow, CoreWeave is gonna go lower. There's so many good plays today, Peter. I mean, I picked the wrong ones to go after, but there was a lot of like CoreWeave here. This is a great short, man, off the view up rejection there. So that was
Yeah.
nice. BBAI had a
Yeah.
face false view at breakout. So look at the breakdown here, low of the day breakdown, and look at that go lower. That is nice. Reggitti. This is a tough trade. I don't know how you would have traded Reggitti if you see it here. Yeah, it broke up above the view, but look at the drop here, and you got to take like an Andrew type view at breakout to make this work, right? It never gets you a pullback. So that's a tough one. This is a really tough setup. Anyway, you slice it and dice it. Nvidia was awesome. Here you took the short early on. It also was a good 5 minute RB. Like if you look at it here, this level here, so that's your 5 minute range. So anywhere in this area, if you took it for a 5 minute breakdown after the 5 minute mark, that would have worked out nicely. Stop loss above the VWAP, and just look how beautiful this drop is. Now, Peter, you took this. Here's your trade. You took this. You had the error, which is okay because you would have got stopped out anyways. Actually saved your money, and then look at the entry here, the add, and then
Yeah.
actually nice drop. So yeah, awesome, awesome
It
trade.
did, and it probably saved me more money than you might give credit for, because
Mm-hmm.
if I'd had a full loss, would I have had the guts to go back into this trade and take it? I honestly don't know.
Good
I
point.
fortunately
Good
I didn't
point.
have
Yeah.
to face that. But
Yeah.
because I just got out of break even, I literally I looked at my P&L, which I didn't normally after that trade. I had a 1 cent profit, so I got it right at. It must have had like a hundredth of a cent. I don't even know how I managed a 1 cent profit. I must have got filled at a couple of different levels, because with a couple hundred shares, that shouldn't be possible. But anyways, yeah, it turned out to be a lucky stop. So
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes errors pay off. Sometimes, not always. Most most times they don't, but sometimes they pay off. So it's nice to see. Uh, and then Tesla. This is a trade that I don't know. I should have not been in this trade this far out from the VWAP on Tesla. But look at the sell off here, man.
yeah.
It's nice.
So the
MD.
question about wouldn't Nvidia retesting the moving averages on the 2 minute be a chance to add on? I don't know. Like, look, a stock is always testing moving averages on all sorts of time frames, right? Because I mean, you have many time frames and you have innumerable moving averages, so it's always testing something. Um, yeah, could it have been? Maybe. I mean, I didn't see that level as significant myself. Yes, it was testing moving averages even on my own 1 minute chart, but you know what? It's always hitting things, and who knows whether that's going to be a level of significance or not. So I just decided I was waiting for the bigger time frame and bigger move. So VWAP or like I said, 190. We'll see. I mean, there's no right or wrong in this. I might have cost myself an opportunity, but that's what I decided to do. So
What else, guys? What else did you guys have on deck? POTR is finally breaking down to the downside, looks like, but let's see if it can actually give it a continuation. What else did you guys trade? AMD. Yeah, AMD was a great short too. So just made a new low here a few minutes ago. Retesting it now. Might make another low now. Let's see if it can lose 240.12. It's a low of the day. And then I saw MU hit the scanners a couple of times. MU too. Like we normally don't trade MU. But look at MU. MU has been clean down. Very similar to Nvidia. Here, obviously, all of these move the same. But again, MU gets less volume, but today it's pretty steady, man. As it makes a new low. Pretty steady. Nvidia sure. Palantir, POTR sure. Very nice. Hey guys, I'm trading the funded account in the trading terminal. Can I set a stop loss? All right. You know what? Someone mentioned that they were working on the stop loss, that it got updated, but I have not played around with it in a long time here. So let's see. I think they made some changes.
wow, AMD ended up making the better move here. Interesting that
And
it's
MU is lower again. Both of those
yeah.
two
Look at
a
that. Yeah.
little better than. Let's go to that now. Actually,
Now,
look at AMD.
Carlos, this is where maybe we should have kept watching AMD. After you got out, it came
Yeah,
back, retested that VWAP and the previous day close, both at that same area from the downside. That would have been a good short right there. I
yeah,
can see
yeah,
the short 10.02. There would have been a good short
yeah,
with about
yeah.
a 50-cent stop loss. And you would
Right
have
in here.
been $4 to the
Yeah,
good on that. So yeah, exactly, right in that area, exactly where I was looking.
that
So
is wow, guys.
it's
Sell off
easy in
is in.
hindsight, isn't it?
Yeah, yep. But the sell off is in, man. Look at this. Tesla's
Yeah.
down. AMD's down. POTR lower. MU
Ah,
lower. Nvidia's gonna make a
Alicia,
new low here, Peter.
Alicia caught that. Nice.
Which one? The
Yeah.
AMD? Awesome. That's a
Alicia
great,
says
great
she
short.
caught, yeah, AMD. So
Yeah.
nice.
Uh, so let me see. We got some new tools here. Let's take a look. So
Wow, AMD, great move. Yeah, great move on AMD. Wow.
so
Okay, well,
you can't put a stop loss on trading terminal. There is a stop loss. I actually used this and it works pretty well. You put the number of shares you want to stop off. You click P. You activate your position that you have open on that ticker. I keep reminding because I make this mistake all the time. Make sure whatever screen you have highlighted is the one you're using. You can minimize this error by going just one chart, one screen. So you by mistake don't click on a different ticker here, or just make sure you have both on the same ticker, right? So make sure of that. And then you put the price you want on the stop loss, and then just if you want to sell, right? If you're going long, sell. If you want to cover, if you're going short, cover. Make sure you have that price in there. If you don't have that price in there, it's just going to execute the order at that time, Make sure you do that with your stop loss here. Uh, and yeah, pretty nice.
What's a proper target you're asking on Nvidia? I don't know. I mean, I said I've got 190 as a target because that's where I see the biggest pool of orders. There's not a lot after that. Before that, there's some orders at the whole dollars at 192 and 191. The problem with 190 is between 191 and 190, there's not much there. So it's looking pretty thin. So that's not usually all that good because um, it doesn't give it doesn't give you a ladder down. It's too big of a move or a gap between the levels. So we'll see. As we get closer, maybe those levels will build. The good news is I don't see a lot to the top side. There's a few small orders on, at the half dollar and whole dollar numbers on the way up, but not much. So Nvidia's looking fairly weak, but we'll see. Ken, I'm just sitting waiting for opportunity. What's been interesting for me, Carlos, my core strategy is absolutely my Mountain Pass, which happens
Mm-hmm.
later in the day. And I haven't seen a lot of those in this last few days. This week, certainly not. I mean, I know we're only Tuesday, but I didn't. I was a little distracted midday yesterday with my girls here. So after we got off the microphone, I was busy talking with them. I wasn't even looking at the market. But even last week, not a lot of Mountain Pass trades. So, which tells me that my bigger setups right at this moment are not all that active. So that's just an item of
Yeah.
note. So it means that I'm being
Yeah.
extra cautious because I know, when they hit, I've got to take advantage of them, but I'm not getting myself too worked up over the fact that, I may not find some good midday trades.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, hard to do. This is all what we've been talking about this morning, right? Like the hardest thing to do is to just sit and watch and do nothing when you're not seeing your opportunity because, as a trader, you want to trade. I get that. But, it's hard to sit there and say, well, but I'm not finding a good trade, therefore the right action is to just sit and watch.
Yeah. This is actually I just did it. This is a great feature, man. So it is the fixed risk hockey is a fixed risk. Uh, well, let's call it hockey. It's here. So basically, you click on this. I did it now. You click on it where you want your stop to be, how much you want to risk. So I have $100 that I want to risk on this trade. You put the line where you want, and then you hit buy, and it puts in your buy order, calculates the number of shares that you want to risk by making this stop, 100. So it calculated 129
That's
shares is what you got to take, and then if we get
There you
here,
go.
it should be 100. So let's see if it does that. So that's pretty cool. That's exactly how Dash
Nice.
works. You're able to do that in Dash Trader Pro. The fact that you can practice that here, that is awesome. Because I highly
Yeah.
recommend all new traders start with this fixed hockey. It makes the thought process so easy, and it allows you to protect yourself. Now don't go in there and get fancy and remove your stop loss, right? If you set that stop loss for a reason, that's your stop, right? Don't go in there because nothing is 100% safe proof, right? You can always mingle your way around things. You can always move your stop down. You can always take the limit order off. Like I can come in here and cancel my order, right? I
Yep.
can cancel my order here. Who's going to stop me from doing that? Nobody's going to stop me. I could cancel right now, right? So you still could do all of that. Nothing is 100% safe proof. So just have the discipline to, hey, that's how much I'm risking for this trade. I'm paying 100 to play. You either make money or you don't. That's it. Don't get creative with this part of the trading business, right? It'll hurt you a bunch. And trust me, I'm saying it
And
because
I,
I got very creative
yeah.
over the years.
Yeah.
Hasn't worked
And
out.
I still trade that way. I, I,
Yeah.
I use a
Yep.
fixed risk stop loss key all the time.
Yeah. Yep. That's pretty nice. Yeah, I should try using it again to see how it is. It does take the pressure out of having to look at a stock while I'm doing other things. That had happened here where I get into a trade, I start looking at something else or answering questions, and then it'll go slightly below my stop. Um, the one challenge I had was I kept parceling too much, and you had to go back and cancel the order. So that was a pain in the butt. Um, so I gotta find no, it's a hotkey now where you can automatically cancel. There's a bunch of things you have to do to make it work. It's doable. Just gotta spend the time actually setting all that up. So it cancels your order. So let's see here. Yeah, Mike, this is great work, man. This is pretty neat. So there it is. If it stops out, it should be exactly at around near 100. It's never gonna be exactly the same, right? Seuss is funny. I'm worried about the 40% of the people who have not watched Fight Club. Yeah, but that's got to be that's again. Listen, that's got to be a younger crowd. You know. So let's end the poll here. Um, let's end it. But yeah, I did watch. I did watch it, so I'm in the clear now.
So what was the final percentage? Sorry, I missed that.
So
Where did?
643 votes. Okay.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
Actually, let me end it. Ooh, oh, don't end the stream. Hit the wrong button almost. Let's end the poll. How do I end it? Oh, here it is. Up here. And all right, let's see what it comes up with here. All right, so if we end it, what do we have? There it is. Final number 644 votes, 60 yes. I'm there. I hit yes. And
All right.
40 have not. But like you said, Peter, you need to ask,
Okay.
from what year to what year? Not 40. When
Yeah.
you were born.
Hmm.
That's the 40% that don't talk about Fight Club. Yeah, that's rule number 1 and 2, right?
Yeah. Yeah, man, there you go. See? And you have to
Uh,
have watched to understand. So
yeah. Which nobody followed because obviously everybody talked about it because it kept growing, right? So everybody broke the rule. Wow, guys, Tesla lower, Nvda lower. Peter, you're getting a new low here, 192. Let's see, there it is. Come on. Uh, Everything just south. CoreWeave south. Was Apple able to hold on
yeah.
to this?
Trading trading
Apple,
terminal,
Apple.
I
Hmm.
said, oh, that's yeah, playing around. I just took a short here at Nvidia just to for the break a low a day, just to play with it.
Yeah, yeah. Let me see. Did it stop me out? Okay, so here it is. Stop me out. How do I see?
Mm.
So yeah, so stop me out in Nvidia on the funded account. And how can I see the P&L for today? Is there a way to see that here? So this is the
Uh,
close order.
I think you need to
Like,
go into your journal, and then
oh, it won't show it here. Okay,
I don't think so.
it should. That would be
Uh,
nice. Put it right there. I thought I did see that, but maybe not. Okay,
uh,
that's weird. Does it have it anywhere?
I don't see it.
Oh, it
Where's
should
my
should be
piano?
somewhere here, like the daily P&L. You haven't realized?
Yeah,
You have realized? Yeah, that'd be nice. But I'm not suggesting that because these guys are working so hard already. Mike, you could
yeah,
put on the list of things if it makes sense because they're doing such a great job. I'm not sending an
yeah,
email to do.
yeah.
you you click on your journal, and if you click on your journal, does it have today already? Where is today? I guess so. Go to trace. Okay, here it is. So today, probably easy to see here. There it is. Ooh, oh no. What are all these trades? These are mine?
Oh.
Apple's holding, guys. Apple is holding. Oh no, it's not loaded yet. Which makes sense. I just did it. You run 5 minutes. Okay, so we gotta wait a little bit. Makes sense. Alright, so we'll wait here. I think I went under. I think I went under. I got a couple of reasons, huh? I think I went under 10,000. Yeah, I went under 10,000. I went under 10. Look at it'll tell you exactly what. I've broken so many rules. I left this thing open. I forgot about it, and at 4 o'clock they close out your trades. But I broken a couple of rules. They only have one here, but I broken a few. But if you're trading seriously, you're not gonna break these rules. You're gonna be paying attention to this. You're not gonna be looking at anything else, you know.
Right.
So symbols traded. So yeah, yeah. But you got to be careful. Okay, got it. You got to be careful with the max button. That's how I got into trouble. I took a huge position in this with this max button. Yeah, you got to be careful.
Right.
If you hit that max button by mistake, and you're trading something like here, I don't like that button. Like I will not have in my platform a button that says max buy. Because a few times you get
Right.
used to this. I meant to click the drop down and do like
Right.
25% or 10%. You hit this green button by mistake. And
Right.
there's no checking. It just goes. So yeah, so I think we took like 10,000 shares or like more. I think it was like 40. No.
Oh my.
And like a
Right.
BYND trade. It's massive. You
Right.
wouldn't do that in real life.
Wow.
You know?
No.
So
No.
careful. But that's what happens
Oh,
though
look at
too.
this.
Like newer traders, lower price stock are attractive because they can take a boatload of shares. So just be careful. That's how newer traders get caught
Well,
with these
there you
low
go.
flow stocks, you know? So be careful. Ah, Tesla dropping, man.
There you
Nvidia. Peter,
go.
what are you looking for? 191? What are you
Yeah.
looking for? What level?
190, 190,
Okay.
because I didn't get an ad, but I am trading Nvidia short as well in my funded account here. So I'm playing with realistic sizes. Actually, I'm playing with pretty small sizes just to play around with it. And yeah, this is great. Look at
Yep.
this.
No, it's a beautiful trade.
Make a couple $100. Again, try and force Andrew to pay us, right?
Yeah. Yes, yes. Yeah, I'm gonna reset
Bro,
my account and trade and see if I can get Andrew to pay me. But I gotta pay attention
I,
to
I'm.
it.
s- Have you noticed? They're interesting. I don't know how they calculate your price here. I'm looking at the average price of my entry here on Nvidia, and in Trading Terminal, my average price is $192 point 45654000000000002.
Yeah.
That is
Well,
very precise.
that is very precise, and you see that you don't. I don't see it on DAS, but you see it on your interactive broker statement sometimes. You see like some weird numbers. Uh,
I mean,
so
yeah, that's true. I get an average price, but it's normally to like a tenth or maybe a hundredth of a cent, not a billionth of a cent.
so yeah, so if you're not eligible, if you have this signal here, hold on. If you're not eligible, that means you broke one of the rules, and it'll tell you like you click on the view reasons, and it'll tell you the reason why, what rule you broke, and it'll tell you on what trade you did it. So it'll give you all those details. But that's what that means. You could finish your 90 days, but you're not going to get the payout. Okay, so that's what people want to reset. They want to reset and see if they can try to get the payout. So It's not work. It worked for me. Yeah, it works for me. Let's do it again. We'll do it again together here. Right? So I took a trade long here in Nvda to get stopped out, and it stopped out there. And by now the journal should be updated. So let's go back at the journal and see. Mike told me to go to trades every 5 minutes or so. It updates. So let's just take a look here. Here it is. Look, our Nvda trade. Nvidia, right? We got stopped out. It took 129 shares. That calculated it to be risk of 100, and look at that, just right before, because usually it'll average down instead of up. So $93 dollar loss on Nvidia. So here's how you do it, right? You go to the simulator. Let's say you're gonna go long here for reversal. You're going to click on, you see the fixed risk here. Here you want to put the number of how much you want to risk, right? So let's do 150 now, right? 150. We'll take this little thing here, this little cursor, click on it, and then you're gonna get this gray line. See that gray line? I'm moving around. So let's make it further out now. So now if we make it further out, it should take less shares, right? We have 129 shares. We put it all the way down here. Let's make it lower, just for the heck of it. 185, right? So now it took the 185. See, it calculated how many shares you're gonna take, right? 121 to make your 185.11, which is what we selected down here, your stop. So 21 shares. That means when the price comes down to 185.11, you're only going to lose the $150. Now I don't think that's gonna happen. So let's pick something a little bit closer. We can actually try to get to stop out. Let's go 191.34. And now see the increase in shares, 227 shares to risk only $150 here at 191.34. So now you have to do, if you're gonna go long, which in this case we are, just hit the buy button. And look what it does. It'll put in the order, right? So it gets you in, and then it should put in the stop. There it is. Here's your stop. Automatically, you don't have to do anything. Just hit the buy order. Let the system do the rest. All right, so there it is. So here we are, our 208 shares, and here's our unrealized P&L. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Awesome. All right, friends, no more trades for me. It'll be a red day in the books for us today, but I don't see anything else that's setting up in our patterns here, because everything is selling down. So there's nothing coming back up to the VWAP like we normally would see. We'll see some stuff come back up to the VWAP. We'll take a VWAP breakout. There's nothing doing that. Everything is down, mainly down. And I'm not a great reversal trader. It's already 10:40, so it'll be this day will be in the books for me, at least, because I won't come back to try to chase stuff and trade something that's not in my trade book, right? It's kind of what was Peter saying earlier, man. Accept the losses. I know we talk a lot about this, but it's because we know what traders fail at, is accepting these losses. Accept the red day. Come back tomorrow. I cannot tell you how many times I came back to try to make this day green and lost even more. My biggest losses are on days like this, where I have a respectable loss right now. You know, we lost on 3 trades. It's respectable. Made a partial on 1, got stopped out on break even. Do not come back and try to make this day green. That's when things go south, you know? So don't do that. Can you show me how in your side where the account reset option is? Yeah, it's right here. Right? Start new funded account. So this is where you can reset right there. What software is this? This is trading terminal trading terminal simulator. So you decide whether you want to use a simulator alone or whether you want to do the funded account. There's not a free reset anymore. They used to be for the beta testers, but not anymore. Now it's you don't get a free retest. If you retest, right, if you want to start again, it's $2.99, right? But don't make it like a gambling thing, man. Where you just you're setting $2.99 just to see if you can make it. Like try to actually go the 90 days, even if you break your rules. Try to go the 90 days and prove to yourself that hey, I'm worthy of trying another reset, right? Don't just go in there just like a slot machine. That's not what we want. So try the first time, get the pressure. If you break your rules and you lose, try to finish the 90 days either way and see if you could, if you can end profitable. And if you do, do another reset, right? Or maybe do a month at least. Prove yourself that in a month that okay, I'm doing better. Then do a reset, right? Don't just go in there just resetting just to Nah, that's you're not gonna have a good experience. I'm telling you that right now. That's not what it's meant for, right? So just be reasonable. Be reasonable. Uh, oh, Sam, that's a good point. That's a good point. Go to the courses. Go to the courses. Learn as you're doing this. Don't just come in there with no experience and think you're gonna wing it. You're gonna. It's not gonna work out. It's
Don't
just
wing it. Yeah.
it's not gonna work out. I'm telling you. This is very difficult. Um, Winging it's not gonna work. Yeah, click on this option. So if I click on this option, so here it is. You already have funded account. Now my message could be different than yours because I think they have me logged in as a moderator, right? Um, okay. Oh no, this is pretty good, right? So your current funded account will be closed. Your starting balance goes back to 12,500, which gives you 50,000 of buying power, and you have a new 90-day period for the funded account. If you fall below 10,500, then before the 90-day period, you're no longer eligible for the payout. There's a whole video on this. We'll get you guys the link. It's a whole video. I know it's a very popular topic, and when we get into it, questions just start flowing in. But we have a whole video on this. I recommend you guys check it out. Let's see if we can get the link here for you guys. But it's very, very good. Yes, if I do continue, you won't be charged yet. So if I do continue, it's going to take me to some. Oh, there it is. So $2.99, right? Put in your information.
Stopped out on Nvda,
and you're good to go. All right. I think Andrew did give. I got some codes for this. I do have some codes for this. We're gonna be giving out some free funded accounts. I think in about 2 weeks when he comes back or so. He's not coming back in 2 weeks. He's coming back before that's a trade. But within 2 weeks or so, we're gonna have everything set up. We're gonna be giving some free accounts for Lambos and garbage truck members. So that's coming. I got
All
the
right.
codes already here. So
Good morning, guys.
hey, good morning. How you guys doing?
Good morning, Brian.
Well, we're doing okay. It's been a marginally profitable day for me so far. Really no outstanding trades. Nothing to write home about. What about you guys? There were some good trades in the room. Apple was a really nice breakout.
Yeah, it was. It was a great move on Apple.
Peter
We were talking about that.
Peter mentioned. Yeah, Peter was. I remember I caught your little rant in the morning there about picking the right stock, and
Yep.
to be quite honest, I mean, I thought about Apple because Apple's been doing this. You know, when everything's down, you can count on Apple being green, and I kind of thought, Apple could even go more green. But I didn't. I decided not to follow it, which was um, which was a mistake on my part. But that's trading. Sometimes you just don't follow the right stocks or the stocks that are in the best position to give you some profits.
All right, guys. I'm gonna take a quick break. Peter, you okay hanging out with Brian for a second here, or? Or is anybody else joining you,
Yeah,
Brian?
sure.
Were you with someone? Okay. All right. Cool.
So I did trade PLTR right at the open. It looked like it was going to break out. Took a partial, and then it came back to the VWAP, and I stopped out. So again, that was kind of the tail of my trading today. Did that with AMD as well. Um, Sort of chased an open, a breakout, got a partial, and then came back to my break even and stopped out again. So
Mm.
but
So you
we've
had a eventful day.
it was like come in and out, in and out. And right now we're just chopping around here. We're just not making any just not doing very much. Sort of general trend is down. It feels like a bit of a buyer strike today. Um, PLTR is kind of looking a little interesting.
Yeah. There's been a few interesting stocks here today. PLTR was really, really choppy, very choppy for the first half hour. We were talking about that. And finally, it decided to break to the downside. Not a surprise, I guess, with the way this market has been. So, um, but oh, what's going on
Yeah, and
here?
that was the one I got chopped up a bit in the morning there. At least I managed to get a bit of a green trade out of it.
Hmm.
But again, it was it was good to me yesterday, so that was kind of already on my mind. Thought maybe I'll have another good day with my girlfriend here, PLTR.
Not
If it
today, eh?
wasn't for
Today you're
you,
fighting?
not today, not today. She shut me down.
Oh, well, that sucks, you know?
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, it
I'm
just
still
doesn't.
riding this Nvidia trade from the open, so still waiting to see. It's either going to give me a nice big pullback I can add into, it's going to stop me out, or we're going to get all the way down to 190. Those are my three options on this trade. So see where we go.
Yeah, SPY is right back at low of day here. And just like I said, there just doesn't seem to be any buyers that are enthusiastic about stepping up here today.
Hmm.
Could try. I'm going to maybe just try a little bit of a long on PLTR here. Does seem this low on this pullback, 188.30-ish is where I'll stop out. I don't like the direction the markets are going in, but the 9 EMA is is sloping up on PLTR, and we're really just trying to break through this 20 EMA right now. I'm looking at our Atlas visualization of level 2. It's got some orders to the upside here. There are some orders to the downside too, so the book looks a little bit balanced here. Here we go. We're going through 189. Just waiting. It's this time of day you got to be a little bit more patient. So couldn't hold above that 20 EMA. That's not a good sign. Plus, we're kind of flushing on the Qs. We're at low of day now, which isn't helping this trade.
No.
If the
Which one
Qs
are
were
you
going the
watching,
other way,
Carlos? Sorry, Brian. What are you watching?
I'm back long. I'm long PLTR.
ELPR. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sort of this 188.70 level is where
Hmm.
I'm in. So it's right there now, just 10 cents above it. I toyed with the idea of taking some off when we got above 189 there, because
Right.
it seems to be that kind of a day.
It does seem to be that kind of a day.
Yeah, it does seem to be that kind of a day for me anyway. Oh, Tesla's down at yesterday's low right now. Just no love for Nvda. Qs are Qs are continuing to sell off here.
Let's see.
Yeah, this PL3R trade would be if the market wasn't selling, I'm pretty confident this would be back over 190. Still going to try to get up here.
There's my daughter on the highway. Just tracking my daughter here, make sure she's making progress.
Oh, is she?
Big
You've
drive
got
today.
the old tracker on. Where is she?
She is right near Belleville right now. So she's
Okay.
on her way back to London, Ontario. So on the 401. Here we go. Nvidia dropping, getting lower. That's good for me. I haven't added yet. I'm thinking it's given me a bunch of opportunities to add. Maybe I should have taken them. But I'm just very happy with this trade.
Okay. Well, looks like might get stopped out of this trade. Qs again not helping this PLTR trade here. So I'm going to stop out.
Yeah.
There's a big hedge wall at with spot gamma. You can see it at 67.95 on the SPX. So we may be heading there.
Uh, Dorota, I have no idea if Nvidia is going lower than 190. I mean, that's my target, 190, because that's where I was seeing on Atlas a whole lot of orders sitting. And the problem is there's not really a lot of volume between here and there. There's some volume at 191, but there's huge volume sitting at 190. But I said not a lot in between. That being said, there's not a lot to the top side either. So I figured, what the heck, right? I've got a small size. That's why I wanted ideally, I wanted a bigger pullback up towards the VWAP and then a big sell-off, which allowed me to add into this, but I haven't. Despite it bouncing and pulling back like 4 times, as you can see, 5 times here, depending how you look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could have maybe added, especially right here. This 193 level might have been a good place. But anyways, hindsight. I decided I'm going to play long term, so I'm going to sit and wait and wait. And again, it might come all the way back up. You can see my break even's way up here, just over 195, and I'm willing to wait. If it comes all the way out and stops me out, then so be it. That's what it's going to do. But we'll. And who's this? You've got a trade dash on Tesla. It's good.
Yeah, Tesla's been trending down nicely here.
Yeah. A couple people watching Micron, not one of the ones we normally, or at least I don't normally watch here. It's also
No,
had a downtrending day. So,
the Qs look like they're going to head to this 617 area here.
hmm.
That would be yesterday's low.
Coach, hey, it's not the size that matters, it's how you use it. So we're talking about
You're
stocks,
talking
of
about
course.
leverage? Yeah, you're
Yeah.
talking about leverage.
Yeah, yeah, of course. What are you thinking about, you dirty, dirty man?
PLTR, I don't know. It's right at low of day. I mean, it could bounce here. Um, the trend is still lower. I mean, that was again, that was a bit of a 920. Again, couldn't get above the 20 EMA. Getting a bounce again. AMD may be double bottoming here.
Maybe. What kind of coach am
Maybe.
I? I'm not a coach. I was talking to Coach Umberto over on YouTube. Oh, Dorota, same stops. Okay, well, let's hope we're right. Again, right or wrong. That's what I'm locked and loaded here. It's it's good. This is the best type of trade to be in my opinion, where you can just sort of sit and relax, right? And just wait and see what happens. I've got big stops now. I don't get these all the time, but the last couple of days, if you guys have been watching, have been pretty good. Yesterday, very choppy, wasn't so good, but Thursday, Friday were good for me, right? Very relaxed trades. I got in, they immediately went in my favor. This one took 2 tries at it, but got it working. So, it's a nice place to be. This is how I prefer to trade, which is often why I like my mountain pass type trades, right? Because this is more or less what it gives me. You get in and it either works or it doesn't, right? Like you just let it do its thing. If I've read the price action on the chart properly, then hopefully it'll do what I'm expecting. I can take profit at my structured places and, not stress over it.
What kind of stop loss do I use? Well, I usually just use, the it just depends. It depends on the trade I'm in. I mean, with the PLTR trade, there it was bottom. Um, got it on the bit of a pullback, and then that pullback low was my stop. So that was sort of the proof that I'm wrong on that particular trade. So I mean, with a 920 trade, it's usually a little bit more of a, just sort of give it a, a dime or so, depending on what stock you're in. I mean, if I'm trading the Qs or the SPY, you give it a point or so above where your entry is. It's a bit of a feel thing, but you definitely have to go into it knowing where you're seriously thinking that you're wrong on the trade.
For my birthday, my mother-in-law got me a lottery ticket. Promised my son if the lottery ticket won, I would see him this week in Scotland. Unfortunately, didn't win.
Mhm.
So it doesn't look like I'm going to Scotland this week. Oh well.
So were you going to take a G20 Gulfstream?
lease a private jet or whatever, rent it for the no.
Sure.
Well, I hadn't thought about that. I mean, I suppose that might be. That could have been
If
an
you win the
approach.
lottery, like, can you please get a private jet? Like, that would just be amazing. Like, if that
Yeah,
happens, I just feel like BBT is missing a jet. Like, that's the
yeah.
one thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
All right.
understand the fancy car. Like, why not just have like a jet? I mean, I
Just
just
have it.
think this
Why?
is,
Why not just have a jet?
I'm saying, Tim Sykes has like a prop plane, and I think Andrew should outdo Tim Sykes. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
we need a jet.
Well, I'll lean on Andrew maybe to be the first one to
Yeah.
get a jet.
Next
But
meeting, we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about a few
yeah,
internal things, most importantly, transportation, actually just for Peter to Scotland, actually. Not for
I
Andrew or
think
anybody else. It's
you
actually
know
just a plane for Peter. It just,
now that you mentioned Thor, I do think that would be pretty awesome. I think we should have a meetup. We're gonna do it in some like tropical island in somewhere. It's got to be somewhere warm. And then we're gonna set the meetup with like all the chairs and trading stations and everything in a big hangar. And then I want us to fly in and land and pull up in front of the hangar in that private jet and have all of us get out of it. You know,
if that doesn't get
that
us
would be
at
pretty
least
awesome.
an extra, if that doesn't get us at least an extra 150 likes, I
Yeah,
really, I just really
yeah,
don't think.
that would be pretty awesome.
Okay.
Speaking of
Look at
likes, people, make sure you
wow,
do that too while we're here.
look at AI working very quickly to create a picture of me winning the Scottish. Well, I wasn't playing the Scottish lottery. I was playing the Canadian lottery to get to Scotland. But all right.
Yeah,
Anyways, one
close
way or the
enough.
other. Yeah, it's all good. Look at
Is
AI.
there a kilt or not a kilt involved? This is how we know what lottery we're playing.
Yeah, it makes me look so handsome. Look at that. Lovely.
Yeah,
Anyways, all
that's
right.
Peter loves
that
AI.
does look like an Edinburgh street too.
It does. They did a good job on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So all right. Well, on that note, yes, let's hope that happens. I need some breakfast. It's 11 o'clock here. I haven't eaten yet today, so I'm gonna go find some food.
Yeah.
I'm
I
gonna
need
leave
some
it to
breakfast
you
here
guys,
too.
Carlos. If you're back and you're out there, we're gonna hand it over to Thor. He's in the saddle.
Yep.
Thor, by the way, saw your trade earlier on Netflix. Well done, buddy. That looked,
Yeah.
you just stuck to your rules and took the trade, let it work. I thought it was pretty awesome. So nice.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a call on it in the in the chat room. So that it was a pretty ideal setup. So I ended up getting long on it off of S3, and I'm actually short in it now. So we had a long call, but then we also got a short call. So I decided I'd go ahead and play this thing short as well and just see if I can, maybe get a little bit of this sell or this give back that I think Netflix is going to do. In the chat room, because I traded live in Bearable Traders, we also talked about Nvda today and how we were thinking we would do a counter trending breakdown, and it really worked out quite nicely. Thor, what a cool name. Thank you, MVP. Thank my parents. I actually was named that, which is pretty wild. I've been called that since I was a kid, and I was also called that before it was cool. A lot of people, in the 80s and the 90s, being named after a comic book is not nearly as cool as being named after a movie, which I am not. So actually, I have Scandinavian descent on my father's side. So it's actually I was named that for kind of more of that reason. So right, so mad props. That is what happens with the light version, right? So that is the light version is missing the play calling functionality and the box drawing. That's what makes the light version the light version. Hey, go Bulls! USF, what's up, Beth? How are you? I'm having an amazing day. I am having an amazing day, actually. Um, hey, Ben Paris. See you, bud. Um, Thor Ragnar Bjorn. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Thor Young, actually. Um, no. Netflix is on a higher range today. So let's see if I look at the 15 minute. Yeah, we're on a higher range today, very easily. So you can see yesterday, our R6 is here. Today, our R4 is above R6 from yesterday. So this is absolutely a higher range today. You can see we bought our R4 yesterday, which we ended up buying S3 today. Netflix is following all the rules right now on the cams today. It's a really nice trader. The one issue with this call on the short call is actually the only issue, right? Because we went down to S3 first, this short call is a little less viable, but we never closed a candle through S3. So since we didn't close a candle through it, I'm still willing to call it. But I'm not going to be super shocked if this one kind of squeezes up and ends up not being a very good producer. The long play was the play, but I really like this short call here. So I made good money on the long, and now I'm short and willing to give back an R of it if I have to, I guess. So I trade futures in TradingView. So for instance, I took a short on micro Bitcoin, which was a lot of fun. Look at that bad boy. Boom. Any of y'all trade Bitcoin via futures before? Bruz, nailed it. Nailed it. I had a great day. The pivot bot was on fire today. So it called some really high quality calls for me today. So I ended up look at the offer into S4. This is a higher range, narrow range. So I want to play away. I went short right at the new low, put my stop right above the box. Target was a 4-to-1 target that ended up right in front of S6. Boom. Loves it. This one deserves to get added to the arsenal. This is my first really good winner on Bitcoin futures. Actually, that's so fun. Let me record this. This is a day for the history books. MBT short S4 1111. Oh, 9 to 5 taking over. PL. PL was an S3 buy. No, I don't trade pre-market. My plays won't even call in the pre-market. It's a day trading system. So I wrote a book. If you really want to understand how these work, right? I wrote a book, published in 22, and I have not changed it since. I've been trading the exact same trading system in the exact same way, other than now I hold more. I used to partial, now I don't. But which is the non-partialing method is detailed in here. So this is my entire, my entire trading system. It is a bit thick. But it is what it is. I mean, it works. So the full indicator is available on TradingView. So if you want the link, go to my Instagram at ThorYoungMA for Market Alchemist. Because that's so yeah. Sam, I'm in a Netflix trade right now that follows perfectly the cams. So the equities absolutely do follow, right? So Microsoft, I'll show you what's wrong with Microsoft, right? Anyone real quick, if there's another indicator that I have that's available that I think will be the game changer for everyone. I am very proud of my cam system. I'm actually maybe more proud of this indicator because it's actually my true brainchild. It's something that I came up with that Bruz coded, and that's my buying and selling detector or my BS detector. Right? So if you're looking at the BS detector, which is this tool down here, I kind of think of it like this way. that wasn't very large. Maybe I should have made that bigger. Hold on, let me do that again. That's a little aggressive, but whatever. At least you can see it. Oh, actually, let me put it behind it. All right. So now that you see this, why would you not take the long on Microsoft? It's not very complicated because it's selling. Beth for the win. Dunk. Right? It's selling. So, you know, so now if you take that and let's line this up with like maybe Nvda. See what I mean? We were buying. We had started off very low, but then as we were leading into the open, we started buying into the open. We sold a little bit and then started buying. So I went long, right? And then we bought all the way to here. And then look what happened. Over time, we've slowly started to sell. And now we're actually in balance, right? So the reason we're not going anywhere is because we're in balance. We don't have enough selling to go down and we don't have enough buying to go down. So we're in balance. Pretty fun, right? You got PL Platinum? That's awesome. Good job. Hey, MB Trader, can you post, like, I don't know if you have social, but one thing I would really like more on my social, if y'all can, is posts from people that I can share. Because I can post my trades all day, and I do. It's just so fun when other people are getting them. So yeah, I mean, feel free to tag me. I'll share it. Because that's awesome. IG if you have it. If not, Twitter, maybe I'll copy it to IG. Look at open. So open's one I would not take today. As far as my system and the way I like to trade, it's in a very bad opening position. So it's a higher narrow range. So the ideal play is actually going to be a trending breakout. But that would be almost impossible because our ATR high is inside of R4. So, and our ATR low is inside of S3. So basically for me, open is a ticker I would not trade today. Like if I looked at this, like even in the pre-market and I kind of saw where the ranges were, this is one I would just walk away from. Because basically it looks like it's buying more than it's selling, but it has no potential to break out. Not really. So this is, and it would need to break out. So I could actually see open maybe capitulating at the end of the day, if nothing else. Because even here, when we bought, it didn't result in any upward movement. If anything, you can kind of see it. It actually struggled a bit. Watch this. So if you mark the top of this indicator here, you can see we put in the same amount of volume when we started buying again, but this time our price couldn't make a new high. Right? So it shows that we put in the same amount of effort, but we could not make the same amount of price advancement for the same amount of effort. Right? So I would actually think it's quite possible we could start selling from here. Because in order to sustain buying, we would need to do something very incredible. to get back to that high. It would take a lot of volume to push us back to that high. This is called the buying and selling detector. The BSD. I do believe in time, this detector will become one of the, like, I don't know. I don't know I haven't. Yeah. Yeah, go to my IG. Maj, at Thor Young MA. I don't know any VPA indicators that exist like this, because I mean, this is a creation. So obviously nothing like it exists like it. So I mean, Crwv was a long at R4, narrow higher range, trending breakup. R4 to R6 would be the play. We did sell, but then we started so here, look at this. Oh my gosh, I love this. So look at the real-time deviation. So as we're pulling up, right? Look as we're starting to rally. Look how weak this rally is, and you actually see the selling, right? But look at our how we're just steadily moving up. And especially right there, when we try and sell, that's our real-time deviation right there. It's beautiful. When we try and sell right there into the level, look how our volume, right, flatlines and then barely goes down. Like that's some pretty heavy selling, yet we're not moving down. So this would be a really decent opportunity to look. And then once you start to buy, now we're buying. Like for me, we're buying strong now. Look at the rolling. So for me, for Crwv, I'm a long right now. I would hold. Mad props. I'm not, the thing is it comes with a suite of, it gets this, ghost candles, and the other things. So I'm not saying we'll never offer like some kind of a promotion on them, but I'm also not saying we'll never raise the price on it either. You know what I mean? So I think the advantage to getting in earlier than later is that I think, because I'm not gonna, it just has its value. You know what I mean? So I'm constantly imagine at its cost, and you're risking $100 a trade, if it allows you to hit one trade, then I think the cost would be nothing. You know what I mean? If it causes you to hit a trade a day, well, now you're making a living. So, yeah, you can use change the ghost color candles. You can go into here and right here. Here's your up color and your down colors. Look at that. Wow. BS detector. Look at it. Buy. Look, we're buying. Crwv is buying. VPA, baby. It unlocks everything. VPA is just amazing. When I was about a year and a half into trading and I was really struggling, I have to really give credit where credit's due. Norm. There's a BBT moderator named Norm, who was very, very popular and very prevalent at the time, also an incredible cook. And he said, dude, like you should like check out, Anna Cooling volume and price analysis. I read that book and it changed everything for me after a lot of practice, mind you. Read the book and then put in maybe 6 months of hard screen time, really trying to understand it. And I was really lucky that I got oh, he's amazing. But it also, because I also have some buddies that work at the NYSE, once I started to kind of pair all of that together, oh my God, it was just amazing. Yeah, I'm in a Netflix short right now. VPA versus price action, which is more so VPA and price action. So price action is price analysis, right? For me. So if you're looking at a candlestick, so ghost candles, I think, are the best representation of this in the whole world, right? Why start buying in here instead of buying in here? Well, if you're using ghost candles, it's pretty damn easy to see if you ask me, right? Well, it's red here, it's green there, right? It's not complicated. Here we're selling, here we're buying, right? But with price action, it's really hard to tell that. All these candles, if you remove the color, like watch this. Let me show you how this is. This is crazy. Hold on. Oh, it's still inherit from underneath. So if I black them out, right, it really changes things, right? Because it's harder to tell where we opened and where we closed, right? But you can see where all the volume comes in really easy. So you can connect these areas. Look, big volume there, big volume there, big volume there. There must be an order here. There must be a large node here. So if they sell, they're going to come back to here. This is value. Oh, we just called a short on CL, right? So price analysis, right, or price action for me, it's movement without context. You know what I mean? Adding in the volume and price, right? So that you can adding in the volume and price so that you can actually see where the volume comes and how the candle is formed is super important. I'll draw you an example. That candle pattern right there is called what? It's an inverted hammer, right? Look back in time and tell me how many different times you're going to find an inverted hammer of some sort in here, right? They're all over the place. So an inverted hammer on low volume is a test candle. An inverted hammer on high volume is a reversal signal. An inverted hammer on medium volume is a continuation signal. A low volume, so look here, let's use a real hammer in this instance since we were moving up. Look at this hammer right here. Look how low the volume is. How many of you would have been scared by these two candles and potentially stopped out of a position? Give me a number 1 in here. If these two candles here would freak you out and make you think about getting out of a position. Nobody? All right, thank you. At least Sam's the only on it. All right, there we go. Everyone was waiting for someone else to go first. This is like you'll know when to start the slow clap. Thank you, Sam. I really appreciate you, Sam M, for stopping the slow clap right there, starting the slow clap. You know what I mean? Every now and again, it's just like, every now and again you start it and nobody else claps, and that's really awkward. You know what I mean? Like you're just like oh. You ever do that at theater? You know what I mean? You go to like theater in like New York, you're in Broadway, and it's like this. You just, oh my God! Haha. I thought they were. I thought it was a really good moment. Oh my, right. So I appreciate you being willing to. I really appreciate you being willing to start that slow clap. But now looking at the ghost candles, right? Why would you not? What about this says selling? Right? Nothing says selling, right? It's not a sell. We just ran out of buying. And there's a big difference between running out of buying and selling. And that's where a lot of us get tripped up. Like right now, are we a short on CL now that it called a sell? No, we're still long. This is an R4 breakout. We're near R6 and the ATR high. That's true, but we're still buying. Look, we're buying. We're buying. We're buying. Any big red candles in here? You see any red? Nope. That's because we're buying. So it's just beautiful. So now, oh, the trend line, absolutely. So if you're going to stay in this, you could throw some trends on this thing and help you if you did want to reverse or get out, you'd know when, right? You could do a longer term here. You can do a shorter term here, come off of this guy here. You're going to come to that pullback, right? So right now, you're basically offering right up this trend, and you're not doing a very good job. Right? You made a new high, so we can adjust this one now. It went to here. Right? So if you're going to look for a sell, wait for it to sell. You'll see it. Boom. Oh, here we go. Watch. Let's see this happen in real time. I have a good feeling about this one. Let's wait for the volume. Here it comes. Ghost candles. There's the volume. Now let's see if we get more selling. They're going to offer premium to see if anyone buys. And if they do, they'll squeeze, right? But if no one buys, see, we're still buying. Right? But notice as we're going up, look how the volume, look what we're doing. You see the directionality here? This is looking fairly disingenuous to me. So we'll see how it goes. That's a lot of buying coming in with not a lot of price action to the top side. Like that should have been a very big candle, right? All that buying, that should have been engulfing. So the BS detector is actually reading this as a potential, is starting to say we're starting to sell a little bit, right? Let's see what happens. We still don't have selling, right? We're just not buying anymore, right? As we're trying to buy. Yep. See, we're diverging. Look how we're continuing to diverge. I'm going to try just one contract just to have fun. It'll be very small risk. Oh, wow. It really spread that order out. I don't know why it did that. Oh, because I used my wrong hotkey. I didn't load the crude one. All right, so I'm going to try a contract here because I really like how this is looking. I've got a viable call. I've got a really good win rate today. So I'm having a strong day. The cams are working well today. So if I'm going to push, today's the way I want to. I'm going to keep trading basically till I find a loser, right? I'm still in Netflix, by the way. This is still working. So I'm into around 50 shares of Netflix right now. So I'm up a few $100s on Netflix also. Okay, there's our sell. Look at that. Boom. All right, this is my moment of truth, right? If this buys and squeezes out now, this will be basically a fake out. But if this buys and we hold under and then start making new lows, let me remark this ridge. Real strong selling is going to be somewhere right around the loss of like that area right there. So we're going to go squeeze here. The rolling is what's important. The rolling is looking back 14, and it's actually doing the VPA read for you. The 0 line is balance, and then anything above 10 is buying, anything below -10 is selling, right? So right now we're offering value basically, right? So we haven't started selling. So but we've stopped buying as well. So, but if this squeezes up and comes off of it, I'll kind of know what happened to me here. I'll call this a little early, but I really liked this area. It was fun. It was worth putting a contract on to see what happens. And if I lose this one, it'll be my last trade I'll take of the day. No, if it opens over the CP, that's just a position. The higher range versus lower range is a pivot relationship. So if we closed higher yesterday than we did 2 days ago, we're in a higher range. So like we're in a higher range, narrow range, right? So I'm playing the R4, the R6 short here because this is a viable play in this range. The trending breakout was also viable. That one worked. So now I'm going to play. I also feel like this move to the top side was relatively labored. Like we just kind of got here and then just squeezed up into it. So it feels nice. I really like this trade. And again, if it comes out, reclaims this trend and then breaks out, I'm fine. Got to get me a loser, right? Oh, come on, Netflix. Netflix is sustaining its selling pretty well. We've reoffered a couple of times to try and buy, but anytime we've tried to buy, we couldn't sustain it. We'd immediately start selling. So this is looking better and better for me. Corey, right? It's a tough problem to have. So one of the things that's really important, so because we were talking this morning in the Axis chat, we were talking a little bit about the pivot system, and that because it's a system, there are going to be slight periods, 1 days, 2 days, 3 days, sometimes even a whole week, where it just won't perform as well. But when it does perform, it performs like a monster, right? And it'll perform for 3, 4, 5 days in a row, just the same like it won't. So one of the things I'm getting better and better at with my experience at recognizing is the days when I know the system is performing well. Like if I'm looking across 5 or 6 tickers, for instance, Corey, and like Nvda is doing a S4 trending counter trending breakdown like it should. AMD is rejecting R3 the way it should. You know what I mean? Netflix is buying S3 the way it should, and that's counter the market. The market's selling and Netflix is buying. Like it seems like the cams are on today. You know what I mean? So this is the day I'm going to lean into them instead of just calling it like a one and done. You know what I mean? Because this is my day. Like I've hit 4 or 5 trades today now, like and across the board between Netflix, and I took a short on NQ. I got my MBT full target, which I'm so happy about. Oh my God. My first Bitcoin future trade that hit target. So that's really exciting. So you, I love this. Oh my gosh. That's a hot boob. How do I avoid the PDT? Or how does anybody avoid the PDT? Let's do both, Jay. So first off, pattern date, are you US based? I'm going to assume, Jay. When I'm trading Netflix, for instance, I'm not using a funded broker. This is Interactive Brokers. These are live trades through my personal thing. When I'm trading right now, this crude trade I'm taking is through Tradeovit, but it is, oh, nice. Yeah. Let's go, JC. That's a solid little drop we got there. That is selling. Look at when it started selling right there. What a nice entry location that would have been too. Woo! Right now, I'm targeting all the way back to the CP. I'm going to go on this play because of our distance. We're going to go R6 to CP on this one. We're going to try and go all the way back to basically previous day's close. Or previous session close in this instance, I guess I should say. So I only had to risk about, I risked about 200 on this one. So, and the, the potential on this one is quite nice if it works. But I don't, so these are one of those moments where I really don't care if this one wins or loses. Number one, I need to find a loser anyway. But number two, like it worked, right? Like it went in my direction. So obviously I had the right idea here. My process was followed. Things were good. I'm happy. You know what I mean? So I might move my stop in if I get a little bit of movement on this. Like if we can get down to R4 and lose this uptrend, like right now we haven't managed to lose this uptrend. So I don't want to go to break even and we haven't even started trending yet. You know what I mean? So you got to be a little cautious with going to break even too early just because of one big sell. It's very normal to re-offer after you get a big hard sell because you exhaust your sellers. So we re-offer to find them again. And if they come back in, that's when you get your real big drop. So don't be, the thing that's important is that this volume stays very low as we re-offer. Like I'm even okay if it comes up through my stop again. It's like, it's no big deal. If this works, it should work. And I mean, if it breaks out, again, we have to go through my stop and reclaim and yeah. Let's go back to Netflix. It seems like the ghost of Mario. It only moves when I'm not looking at it. So let me go back to Netflix. Netflix, we've got a bit of a journey in for us. So we're about halfway to my target. So we've got a lot of work to do on Netflix. For all of you guys who momentum trade, you ever think about just slinging on targets like that and just letting them go? Yeah, hey, regards from Poland. Good to speak with you, man. That is so awesome. Poland is like, I have never been to Poland, but I did watch a docu-series on Poland. Like, my God, there is some beautiful country in Poland. My best friend growing up was Polish too, which was a lot of fun. So Netflix target is all the way down through S4 today. My target today is probably getting what I get out of it. I would be very surprised to hit a full range target on this, but I'm basically going for like yesterday's low or something like that. I mean, I'm just going for some nuts number. Or is that PD's? No. I'm going for, I don't know where I'm going. This thing is crazy. But I mean, we're giving up this candle very well now. Like this is feeling good. How do I stay so cool and composed for trading? This is actually really good to talk about. So, seat time, I think, is a really big one, right? So I have been trading for 8 years, and have been actively day trading almost every single day. Right, I do day trade for a living. Now, staying composed while on a camera with people, I think that's the next level, right? You know, I used to not be this composed or as good at trading, and it was actually detaching from outcomes that really got me there. It was exactly, Toby. It was self-mastery. My next level for me trading, I hit a new level back in May. I met with Dr. V in March when she presented at the Bear Bull Traders TEDx event. And when I was hanging out with Dr. V, I talked to her a lot during that event. And then I worked with her a little bit afterwards. I had a couple of sessions and started talking with her. And since then, she's become quite a friend. But in that process, we really worked on what my major hangup was, and getting away so that I could get away from partialing and transition from trading micros to trading full size. And then like on my Netflix trade here, I don't risk $100. Maybe earlier in the year, I was risking $100 to $120 per trade. Now I'm risking 500, right? So for me, there was a very big change that came with working with Dr. V, and that's why one of the reasons why Dr. V and I are now we're combining our mentoring efforts together, starting in December, is because I recognize her talent in that arena. And I think it's going to be awesome because I can offer so much technical expertise, and she has technical expertise, but also is a PhD in psychology. So but the main thing I got from those sessions was gaining a certain level of self-confidence in my trading, but more importantly, detaching from the outcomes. Like the market, this is my saying that I've kind of come up with, and I live by this. The market rewards indifference. The market rewards indifference. The more you care, the less it works. This is why when you started in the beginning, you actually did really well, and now you're not. Not saying you're not, but you know what I mean. Now we don't, right? Because in the beginning, you sit down and you really don't care. It's just fun. You're going to try it. You try it by the rules. You do the thing. And then you make this decision that you want to do it for a living and make it a paycheck job. And then it assigns a value to it that it didn't have before. And then once that happens, now you care. And because you care, it doesn't work, right? Because the fact that you care makes you hyper aware of your positioning and makes you stay overly focused on it. Like right now, I'm not even paying attention to Netflix while we talk, right? So, yeah, exactly. Ted Lasso, Melanie, you ever watch Ted Lasso? Mind of a Goldfish? You know what I mean? Every single day, it's got to be a brand new day. You know what I mean? If you're tracking your P&L, by the way, something I'd really highly recommend, don't track your P&L back more than like a couple weeks when you're new. Like every day you're improving. It's like a rolling improvement. You don't want to get too stuck in who you were a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Like allow yourself to move on. You know what I mean? A lot of people get so focused on what they were doing that they don't do what they're doing. You know what I mean? So try and have a little bit every day, sit down and just say, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to do it, and endeavor for just that, right? Redefine what it means to you to have a green day, right? For me, a green day is not money spitting out of my computer, right? For me, a green day is when I follow all of my rules exactly the way I should follow them, right? That's a green day. Right? If I start breaking rules, if I take profit off early, if I stop out early, if I start doing this one thing with this one new thing, right? Then, you know what I mean? Like that's where all the inherent issues come in. And I'm gonna steal this from Stephen Goldstein on this one, who we interviewed here only a few weeks ago. And his term that he uses a lot is behavioral slippage. Right? Behavioral slippage isn't the money you make. It's not the money you lose. It's the money you never make. right? Behavioral slippage isn't the money you lose, it's the money you never make, right? So you because you don't follow the process, inherently you will ruin the trades that were working and you will hold the ones that aren't. And because of that, you will end up having a negative equity curve. There's just nothing you can do about it. The only way you can hit targets is to hold for them. If you don't hold for them, you cannot hit them. So if you're constantly taking positions off prior to hitting your targets, well, then you're constantly not going to hit targets. And if you don't hit targets, then your little math that you're doing on how you manage your risk never works, right? Oh, I like to hold for 4-1, but you never hold for 4-1, right? Or you never hit 4-1, right? So 4-1 doesn't work. You need to adjust for what you're hitting or what you're willing to hit, right? Complete fluidity. I think that's good. You know what I mean? Yeah, Chris. There's one of my mentees used to be a professional baseball player, and one of the things we talk about in there is that the sign of a great hitter is not hitting a home run. It's what happens when he gets up to plate after he hits a home run. Right? Like, because hitting a home run can be lucky. Right? But what happens next is likely not. You know what I mean? And that happens. That's what I really like happens in trading a lot, right? Is we hit the hit, right? And then we come back in, but it's like, can you stay composed? Like after you win your first trade, can your next trade be a good setup? Right? Because a lot of traders that screw up their day, they screw up after winning, right? Anybody in here, give me a number 2. If your washout days, I'm putting a number 2 up here because this is true for me. All my Hulk days were always when I was winning. All of my worst Hulk days were always when I was up in equity to start the day, not down in equity like you would imagine. I got like 15 twos from Yamaha, right? Right? So help me out here, right? So this is the here, right? This is what happens, right? Your first trade followed all your rules, did everything you should have done, and then after you won, you got excited. After you got excited, your next trade, you took a less opportune trade for your next trade, and then you lost that trade. You instantly went from elation to disappointment. That is one hell of an emotional swing, right? And if you're composed enough to be able to handle an emotional swing of that magnitude and still perform, then you are of the top 1%. Because I want to clue you into a concept here. All right. Think about this, and it's called hyper awareness. Okay. The military, when they train, they are training to negate hyper awareness. Right. So imagine this. You're walking down, you're going to a family picnic. This family picnic is in this wooded area. It takes you about a half a mile walking through the woods on a very clearly defined path with signs and everything. You've done this walk 100 times, right? As you're doing this walk down through the woods, you're walking, you're happy, you're whistling. Everything is just amazing. And then all of a sudden you hear a twig snap behind you, right? That twig snap, right? You're not looking backwards yet, but that twig snap immediately sends your body into hyper awareness, right? Your ears get bigger, your eyes get bigger, your smell gets bigger, your skin gets bigger. Everything's hotter. You feel taller. Like your heart starts to race. All that happened was a twig snap. You haven't even looked at it yet, right? But because you have perceived danger, you have now gone into flight or fight mode. Now you turn around and you look backwards, and there's a squirrel there. Oh my God, that silly squirrel. It wasn't even like a bear. It wasn't like a mountain lion. It was just a squirrel. So you turn around and you start walking. But as you walk, answer me this, people. How long does it take you to recover from that? But it's a squirrel. You know there's no danger. But do you stop looking behind you? right? Do you go back to that same happy, gingerly walk that you had before? Or is that moment now ruined? You know what I mean? Are you now hyper aware? And it takes you a very long time, hours it can take for you to actually come down and come back to complete consciousness. So when you're trading and you win that first trade, right? You're elated. You're walking through the woods. This is amazing. This is so good. And then you get that second trade, and then it has an issue. It creates hyper awareness, right? And you are no longer really able to properly think. This is why I highly recommend one winner, one loser in either category. Most people, if your first trade's a loser, I'd highly recommend just not trading for the day. Like, just take it off. Right? You're just done, because the chances of you accepting that loser, getting back to consciousness and taking another good trade that fit your rules, not really that great. And this is actually true for when you win. A lot of the times, if your first trade is a really big winner, you should probably just stop trading for the day. But if you're going to trade more when you win, not when you lose. Right? So for most of my mentees that I take the profitability, we generally take one trade, two trades a day until you have a day like I'm having today. Right? I have a day where the market is the cams are really working. I recognize lots of quality setups. So I'm pushing today, and I'm willing to hit whatever I'm willing to hit. So on today, I'm going to probably close out the day somewhere close to 20 plus R on the day between my varied trades. Right? And most of those trades are mirrored through multiple accounts, right? So it allows me in one day, like my November's done, right? I've made enough money today to pay all of my bills for all of November and probably most of December, right? And that's just today. I've had 3 days this month as good as today, right? And I've had one that was better. So it's very, very important, right, to understand that this is Pareto principle, right? The vast majority is going to come from the vast minority, right? So this is why performance is so it's the baseball analogy, right? The best baseball player out there ever to do it. What's the best hit rate for any baseball player out there other than the one guy who ran a 100 or a 1,000 for one at bat? Right? Who was the guy? I know you guys will know. Number one highest batting average ever to be carried. Nope, not Babe Ruth. His name starts with a T. I want to see if I have any baseball historians in here who are into stats. Ted Williams. Ted Williams. There it is. Ted Williams is the man. Ted Williams is the only baseball player to ever have a 400 batting average. Right? Right? One person, 4 out of 10. Best to ever do it. Right? That's 4 out of 10 when he gets at bat. Only 4 out of 10, and everyone was terrified of Tim that year. Right? Because every time he got up, Ted, every time my dad would be so mad because my dad's name is Ted Theodore. So he'd be so mad I just called him Tim by accident. Ted, terrified of Ted. That dude got on base. He was literally, anybody seen the movie Moneyball? Homework assignment for tonight, if you're bored and you got nothing else to do on a Veterans Day other than knock back a couple of beers. Watch the movie Moneyball. Great movie because they get on base. Right? I think it's Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill. I think. Great movie. Great movie. Watch it. Love it. It's an entire movie based on baseball and people using just people who get on base, just using stats to put together a killer team. Right? But that's trading, right? And I'll close, as we start to wrap kind of into the end of our session, this is what I want you to understand with trading. Right? Oh my God, Dave Justice is the man. I love Dave Justice. I have Dave Justice's signed rated rookie card I have met David Justice because I was a Braves fan. I grew up in the Carolinas. Right. I love Dave Justice, man. I've got his I've met him. I've got to shake his hand. I've got a signed rated rookie because I met him. So I had him sign. Like I have a picture of me like with the card in my hand while he is signing it while his hand is on the other side of my hand. Like, I mean, that's freaking cool. Like Dave Justice. Oh my God. So the anyway. So what I want you to think about as you go forward forever, right? Baseball analogy here, all right? Stock trading, like baseball, is the game of attrition, right? So a lot of people don't understand that. Stock trading is not a zero-sum game. It's not a winning thing. You don't ever win in stock trading. You lose more than you win most of the time, but it's a game of attrition. Small steps backwards for big steps forward. Small steps backwards for big steps forward. If you ever imbalance that game of attrition, you don't make money in the stock market. If your step backwards ever become too big, you won't make money. If your step forwards ever become too small, you won't make money. But it's always going to be a game of attrition. And that's what makes stock trading difficult, right? Because if you're in one of those attritional periods and you develop bad habits because you get scared and unconfident and lose your security during those attrition periods, then when you go into the periods of the minority periods where you're going to make your money, you will not perform there, right? So this is like a baseball player, right? When I played baseball in high school, which I played a couple years in high school, and then I did music. Right. One of the things, because I was really bad at fastballs, hitting fastballs, but I was really good at hitting sliders and curves, I would often intentionally take 1 or even 2 strikes at the beginning of the round, right? When I go up to bat, I would go ahead and let myself get deep in the count because most of the pitchers I was up against, when they got deep in the count, they would start going to their specialty balls, right? They would start throwing curveballs and knuckleballs, and those were actually the ones I could hit. So I would intentionally load the count on myself as a batter so that I could get the pitches that I'm looking for, right? And this is the same thing with trading. It's not about volume. It's not about quantity. It's about quality. It's about waiting for hits. And when you get them, crush them, right? And then don't worry about it, right? Once you send it. Don't worry about it afterwards. Don't let any little twig snap send you into hyper awareness and make you start taking your positions off, start partialing, start moving your stops, start doing all these weird things. No, it's a plan. You show up, you have a way of doing it. If it doesn't work, you change the plan. Don't think while you trade, act while you trade, think afterwards, right? And that makes it a lot easier. So I hope everybody enjoyed today's session. I really appreciate you all greatly for coming by and hanging out with me. Please like, share. You know, if you caught some good trades while you're in the session and you do these things, put it on your social media. You know, I mean, help us get this channel big, help us keep people coming in here so we can keep providing the most quality content possible. I really appreciate everybody. And if you need anything, reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you. So keep it green. Much love, everybody. Rolling out. Bye.